Firebase Viper, Kunar Province, Afghanistan, 3:47 hours. Captain Evelyn Corwin stands alone on the eastern perimeter. The wind carries dust and the smell of diesel from idling generators. Her breath makes small clouds in the cold, 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Humidity 22%. Moon waning crescent, 18% illumination. Not enough light to read by, but enough to see the mountains. Her rifle rests against sandbags. Barrett M107 50 caliber 29 pounds empty. The weapon that can punch through engine blocks at a mile. She hasn't shouldered it yet, just watching, calculating, not the shot, the absence of it. The radio on her chest crackles, encrypted. Architect, this is Olympus. Confirm receipt of Operation Hourglass parameters. She pulls a piece of paper from her chest pocket, reads it once in the red glow of her headlamp. The words are typed, official, impossible. 0 casualties, both sides, 48 hours, no exceptions. She strikes a match, holds the paper to flame, watches the words curl black and disappear into ash. The mission parameters are now inside her head only. No evidence, no trail. If this goes wrong, nobody can prove what she was ordered to do. The match burns down to her fingers. She whispers into the flame, "Hale, you trained me to win, not to freeze." The match drops, dies in the sand. She lifts the Barrett, chambers a round, 50 caliber match grade, Browning machine gun round, modified for precision. 750 grains of copper jacketed lead moving at 2,800 feet per second. Kinetic energy that could tear a human being in half. She will fire this rifle many times in the next 2 days. She will not kill anyone. Above her, stars wheel in their ancient patterns. Orion setting in the west, the Big Dipper climbing. Navigation by starlight the way humans have done for 10,000 years. But she's not navigating terrain. She's navigating time. 48 hours, 2,880 minutes, 172,800 seconds. The hourglass is running. She keys her radio. Olympus architect. Hourglass received and understood, beginning operation. No acknowledgement comes back. There won't be. From this moment forward, she is alone. If she succeeds, nobody will know. If she fails, everyone will die. The firebase behind her is waking up. Voices, boot steps on plywood, the clank of weapons being functions checked. Alpha Company, 2nd Battalion, 10th Mountain Division. 137 soldiers who believe they're about to launch an offensive against Taliban forces massing 2 kilometers north. They've been planning this operation for 6 weeks. Intelligence, logistics, fire support coordination, everything ready. They don't know their offensive will never happen. Because she's going to stop it without them ever knowing she was the one who stopped it. She exists in official records as killed in action 2 years ago. Captain Maya Hale, sniper, Delta Force attached, died in Syria during a classified operation. There was a funeral, a flag, a headstone at Arlington. Her mother cried. Her file was sealed. But Maya Hale didn't die. She became Evelyn Corwin. New identity, new records, same person. The death was cover for black operations, for missions that couldn't be traced to anyone living, for work that required a ghost. Only a handful of people know the truth. General Marks at JSOC. A few others in the intelligence community. Everyone else believes Captain Hale is dead and buried. It's cleaner that way. Ghosts don't have families to notify, don't have lives to protect, don't have anything to lose except the mission. She moves toward the Firebase Command Center. A plywood structure with a tin roof, maps on the walls, radios crackling. The door is open. She can see Colonel Marcus Shelton inside, bent over a terrain map, moving unit markers. He's 48 years old, 26 years in the Army. Silver hair cut high and tight. A combat infantryman badge with 2 stars. Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria. A man who has seen war and knows its cost. He doesn't look up when she enters. You're early. Briefings at 0600. I don't need a briefing, sir. I need your sniper instructor in 48 hours. Now he looks up, sees her rank. Captain, sees her age, 28, maybe 30. Sees her unit patch, redacted black square where a unit insignia should be. His eyes narrow. JSOC sent you. JSOC sent orders. I'm just the interpreter. She hands him a tablet. Mil-spec encrypted biometric lock. He presses his thumb to the sensor. The screen unlocks. He reads. His face goes white. Not pale. White. The color of a man who has just been told something that violates the laws of physics. This is insane. You want me to stand down our offensive. Taliban's massing 2 clicks north. We hit them at dawn or they hit us. Those are the only options. There's a third option, Colonel. Neither happens. How? I need your best shooter, and I need his rifle. Shelton stares at her. Who are you? Someone who can't afford to miss. She turns and walks out before he can ask more questions. Behind her, she hears him slam his hand on the table, hears him say something she can't make out. Doesn't matter. He'll follow orders. He always does. That's why they picked this firebase. Because Shelton is a by-the-book officer who will execute even the orders he doesn't understand. The armory is a converted shipping container. Steel walls, combination lock, racks of weapons in foam cutouts. She enters without knocking. Master Sergeant Cole Briggs is inside, 42 years old. Weathered face, sun damage, crow's feet from squinting through scopes. 15 years as a sniper instructor. He's cleaning his rifle with the focused attention of a surgeon. The weapon is an M2010 enhanced sniper rifle, chambered in .300 Winchester Magnum, modular suppressor, 25 power optic. This rifle can put rounds into a 6-inch circle at 1,000 meters. In Briggs' hands, it can do better. He doesn't stand when she enters, doesn't acknowledge her rank, just keeps running a patch through the bore. Help you, ma'am. I need to borrow your rifle. He stops cleaning, sets the rod down, looks at her for the first time. This isn't a library. She walks to the rifle, picks it up without asking permission, checks the chamber, clear, works the bolt. Smooth, no grit, perfectly lubricated. Tests the trigger pull. 2.5 pounds, crisp break, no creep. This is a weapon maintained by someone who understands that equipment failure means death. She looks through the scope, adjusts the parallax dial, focuses at 600 meters. The reticle is sharp, mil-dot system. She can see the hash marks clearly. Your zero's off. Briggs stands now, slowly, his voice is quiet, dangerous. Excuse me. Yesterday you shot in 15-mile-per-hour east wind. Today's west at 4. You adjusted windage 3 clicks right. Didn't readjust back. Your zero's .8 MOA right of true at 600 meters. She sets the rifle down, gently, with respect. Briggs stares, his jaw works. Who the hell are you? Someone who can't afford to miss. She picks up a cartridge from his ammo can. Federal gold medal match. 175 grain boat tail hollow point. She holds it to the light, examines the case head, reads the lot number stamped in tiny print. Lot 2847. This batch runs 12 feet per second hot. You know that. Briggs nods slowly. His skepticism is shifting to something else. Caution, interest. I know. Then you know your elevation is off too. 1 click low at 800. She sets the cartridge down, walks out. Behind her, Briggs picks up the cartridge, looks at the lot number, 2847. He shot 500 rounds from this lot, chronographed them. She's right. They run 12 FPS hot, which means she's not guessing. She knows. He grabs his rifle and follows her. The sun is rising. 0530, temperature climbing to 45 degrees. The wind has shifted, now coming from the west at 4 miles per hour, just as she said. The firebase is fully awake now, soldiers moving to positions. Crew-served weapons being test-fired, mortars being ranged. The offensive is scheduled to kick off at 0600, 30 minutes from now. It will never happen. Evelyn climbs to the southern tower, not the northern tower facing the enemy, the southern tower facing away from the fight. Briggs finds her there 5 minutes later. Wrong tower, ma'am. No, this is exactly right. She's looking south through binoculars. Vortex Razor 22 power magnification, studying terrain 2,000 meters away. A ridgeline, boulders, a shadow that might be a man. Briggs looks at the northern perimeter, Taliban positions visible in the gray dawn light. Enemies north. Enemies where I decide they are. She hands him the binoculars, points. 2,200 meters south, 30 degrees left of that dead tree, you see him. Briggs looks. At first he sees nothing. Then movement, a man. Taliban, judging by the Pakal hat and the rifle, he's radioing, calling in coordinates. He's a spotter, Briggs says, calling fire missions for the main force. Correct. If we hit Taliban from the north, he'll adjust their mortar fire onto us. We'll take casualties. So we kill him first. No, we make him useless. She pulls Briggs' rifle from his hands. He lets her take it, too surprised to resist. She drops behind the sandbag, settles into a shooting position, stock and shoulder, cheek weld firm, breathing slows. She's calculating. 2,200 meters, wind 4 miles per hour quartering from 7 o'clock, temperature 45 degrees, barometric pressure 29.12, altitude 6,800 feet. She adjusts the scope, elevation 38.2 mils, windage 1.8 mils left for the quartering wind, but there's more. Coriolis effect at this latitude, 34 degrees north, pushes the bullet 0.3 mils right. Spin drift from the rifling twist adds another 0.5 mils right. Total windage correction, 1 mil right of target. She does not touch the turrets. She holds the correction in the reticle, puts the crosshair 1 mil right of the spotter's binoculars. Briggs is watching through a spotting scope. That's 2,200 meters, outside effective range for this caliber. Effective means 50% hit probability. I need 100. She breathes, 4 count in, 4 count hold, 4 count out, 4 count hold, box breathing, calms the heart rate, oxygenates the blood. At the bottom of the respiratory pause, the body is most stable, no heartbeat disruption, no muscle tremor from breathing. She presses the trigger, straight back, 2.5 pounds. The break is a surprise even though she knows it's coming. The rifle fires. Recoil pushes her shoulder. The suppressor reduces the sound to a sharp crack instead of a thunderclap. Still loud, but not the window-breaking boom of an unsuppressed magnum round. Bullet flight time, 2.8 seconds. The bullet arcs through morning air, drops 96 feet from bore line to target, drifts right in the wind, spins clockwise from rifling twist. The math of ballistics is merciless. Every variable must be calculated. Miss one, miss the target. Through the spotting scope, Briggs sees the impact. The spotter is holding binoculars to his eyes. The bullet hits the binoculars, shatters them, fragments of glass and metal. The spotter drops unhurt, hands over his face, screaming, not shot, just terrified. Briggs lowers the scope, looks at Evelyn. You missed. I hit exactly what I aimed at. The spotter is running now, stumbling down the ridge, no longer radioing, no longer providing coordinates, neutralized without a casualty. Briggs watches him disappear. What the hell are you doing? Buying time. For what? Can't tell you. That's not good enough. She ejects the spent casing, chambers a fresh round, looks at him. Sergeant, do you trust Colonel Hale's judgment? Briggs goes very still. Hale's dead. I know, cancer. Walter Reed, 2 years ago. He trained me for 6 years before that. Hale never mentioned a student. He mentioned you. Said you were the best conventional shooter he'd seen. Also said you followed rules even when they were wrong. Briggs' face hardens. Rules keep people alive. Hale's rule was different. Win the war, not the battle. She hands him back his rifle. You'll want to watch the next 4 hours. You're about to see something nobody's seen before. 2 kilometers north, the Taliban force is preparing to attack. 80 fighters, 3 heavy machine guns, 2 recoilless rifles, 4 mortars. Intelligence has tracked them for 6 weeks. Watched them mass. Watched them plan. This attack has been inevitable. Until now. The Taliban commander is named Ahmed, 41 years old, 20 years fighting Soviets, then Americans, then other Afghans. A professional warrior who has survived by being cautious and smart. He's waiting for the spotter's final coordinates before launching the assault. But the spotter isn't answering. Ahmed tries the radio again. Samir, report. Static. He tries a different frequency. Samir, acknowledge. Nothing. His lieutenant asks, orders. Ahmed studies the firebase through binoculars, sees no movement, no indication they know he's here. But without spotter data, he doesn't know their exact strength, doesn't know where their heavy weapons are positioned. Attacking blind is suicide. Hold position, he says. At Firebase Viper, Evelyn is already moving to her next position. She's set up on the northwest corner now, 700 meters from Taliban lines, close enough to see details, vehicle types, weapon systems, individual fighters. She's looking for specific targets, not people, equipment. She finds one, a PKM machine gun, Soviet-era 7.62 millimeter, belt-fed, sustained fire capability. This weapon can pour 600 rounds per minute into the firebase. It's the Taliban's primary suppression asset. She adjusts her scope, 700 meters. Wind now 5 miles per hour from 8 o'clock. Temperature 48 degrees, rising. She puts the crosshair on the machine gun's feed tray, where the belt enters the receiver, the most fragile part of the weapon. She fires. The bullet hits, metal fragments, the feed tray cover bends, the belt jams, the weapon is deadlined, useless. The machine gunner looks at his weapon, confused, looks around, didn't hear the shot. The suppressor and the distance mean the sound arrived long after the bullet. He has no idea where it came from. Evelyn is already transitioning to the next target, a radio operator. She doesn't shoot the man. She shoots his radio, hits the antenna mount. The antenna snaps off. Taliban communications are degraded. Next target, mortar team. She shoots the mortar tube's base plate. The plate cracks. The mortar is out of action. She fires 11 more shots over the next hour. 11 equipment hits, 0 casualties. Briggs is watching through optics from the command center. He's keeping a tally in a notebook. Each shot, each target, each result. 12 shots fired, 12 equipment kills, 0 enemy KIA, 0 WIA. He shows the tally to Lieutenant Sarah Cade, the Firebase intelligence officer. She's 26, MIT graduate, signals intelligence specialist. She looks at the pattern. She's not trying to kill them, Cade says. I know. Why? I don't know. Cade takes the notebook, studies it. She's trained to find patterns in data. This is data. There must be a pattern. She plots the shots on a map, pins for each impact point. The pattern emerges. Every Taliban position on the west side of their formation has been hit. The east side is untouched. She's hurting them, Cade says. Briggs looks at the map. East, away from something. Away from what? Cade pulls up satellite imagery on her laptop, scans the terrain east of Taliban positions. Grid 42 Delta, rocky ground, dry wadis, no vegetation. She sees it, a debris field, small, scattered. The thermal signature is cold now, but 72 hours ago it would have been hot. A drone, she says. Reaper UAV went down 3 days ago in this sector. Classified payload. Briggs leans closer. What payload? Above my clearance, but if Taliban find it before we recover it. She doesn't finish the sentence. Doesn't need to. Everyone in the room understands. Drones carry cameras, sensors, communications equipment, encryption keys. If Taliban capture that technology, it's an intelligence disaster. Colonel Shelton enters the command center, sees the map, sees the pattern. She's not protecting us, she's protecting the drone. Cade shakes her head. No, sir, the drone crashed west. She's pushing them toward it. Silence. Shelton's face goes pale. Why would she want Taliban to find our drone? Nobody has an answer. Evelyn is on her 14th shot now, targeting a Taliban technical, pickup truck with a heavy machine gun mounted in the bed. She doesn't shoot the gunner. She shoots the gun mount, the welded steel joint that holds the weapon to the truck bed. The bullet hits, the mount breaks, the machine gun tilts sideways, unusable. Ahmed is watching this happen. He's a smart man. He's fought Americans for 20 years. He knows their tactics. They use airstrikes, artillery, overwhelming firepower. They do not use single snipers to disable equipment. This is something new. He gathers his lieutenants. What do you see? One says, a sniper, very skilled. Another says, but why not kill? Every shot hits equipment, not men. Ahmed looks at the map, studies the pattern. He sees it too. West side targets only. She is pushing us, he says, like a shepherd with sheep. Pushing us where? Ahmed traces his finger east on the map. There, toward that terrain. Why? I don't know, but we will not be sheep. He gives orders. Shift all forces west, refuse to move east. If she wants us there, we will go the opposite direction. This is exactly what Evelyn predicted he would do. She's 3 steps ahead, has been since she arrived. At 1300 hours, she fires shot number 23. This one is different. She's shooting at a Taliban position on the east side. The first eastern target she's engaged. The bullet hits a water container, punctures it, water pours out. Ahmed sees this, confused. Now she shoots east, after pushing us west all morning. His lieutenant has no answer. But Evelyn does. She's reversing the pattern, pushing them back east, controlling their movement like a chess player moving pieces. By 1500 hours, Taliban forces have shifted position 3 times, each time reacting to her shots, each time moving exactly where she wants them to move. They're not advancing on the firebase. They're not retreating. They're frozen in place, confused, reactive, waiting for the next shot to tell them what to do. Ahmed finally understands. She is not fighting us, she is playing with us. He calls for Rafik. Rafik arrives an hour later, 38 years old, clean-shaven, unusual for Taliban, cold eyes. He carries a Dragunov SVD sniper rifle. Russian-made, 7.62x54R, effective range 800 meters. He has 47 confirmed kills of coalition forces. He is the best counter-sniper Taliban has. Ahmed explains the situation, shows him the map, the pattern of shots. Rafik studies it. She is very good, but she has a tell. What tell? Rafik points to the high ground on the map. She shoots from elevated positions, always, sniper doctrine, predictable. He sets a trap, places a dummy target on a ridge at 1,400 meters, a fighter's jacket stuffed with straw holding binoculars, visible, obvious. Then he waits. Evelyn sees the target through her scope, knows immediately it's a dummy, the way it sits too still, the way the binoculars don't move. But she also knows, if she doesn't engage, Ahmed will know she's onto the trap. He'll change tactics, become unpredictable. She needs him predictable for 16 more hours. She fires, hits the dummy's binoculars. Rafik sees the muzzle flash, 1,400 meters northwest, high ground just as he expected. He triangulates, plots the position, smiles. Got you. At Firebase Viper, Brig sees what's happening. She's been spotted, Taliban snipers on her. Shelton, send a quick reaction force, extract her. Cade, no sir, she specified in her orders. No interference. If we send troops, Taliban will know something's wrong. Briggs, so we just let her die. Cade looks at him. We trust Hale's student. Evelyn is already moving. She saw Rafik's position the moment he revealed it, saw the glint of his scope, the slight movement as he marked her location. She packs her gear in 90 seconds. Movement discipline. Every item has a place. Everything stowed in the same order every time. Muscle memory, no thought required. She relocates 800 meters south. New position, different elevation, different sight lines. Rafik is good. He arrives at her old position 12 minutes later, finds the spent brass, the compressed grass where she lay, the faint scent of gun oil. But she's gone. He radios Ahmed. She knows I'm hunting her. Can you find her? Yes, but it will take time. How much time? I don't know. Time is the variable Evelyn controls. She's not trying to kill Rafik. She's trying to delay him, keep him searching, keep him occupied while the clock runs down. Hourglass, 33 hours, 42 minutes remaining. At 1700 hours, Cade breaks the encryption on Evelyn's orders. It takes her 6 hours of work, brute force algorithms, dictionary attacks, finally, a weakness in the key exchange. The file opens. She reads it. Goes pale. Runs to Shelton's office. Sir, I know what Operation Hourglass is. Shelton looks up from paperwork. Tell me. Taliban has a chemical weapon, VX nerve agent, stolen from Syrian stockpiles during the Civil War. It's in this valley. If they use it, 200+ casualties. If we attack them, they'll deploy it and scatter. We'll never find the canister. Shelton stands slowly. How do you know this? Cade hands him the tablet, shows him Evelyn's orders, unencrypted now. Mission: prevent all kinetic engagement in AO Viper for 48 hours. Enable CBRN team covert search and neutralization of chemical weapons cache. Rules of engagement: 0 casualties both sides. Mission failure criteria: any death, friendly or enemy, results in Taliban deploying VX agent. Shelton reads it twice. Jesus Christ. Sir, if she fails, if Taliban move that canister, it could be used on Kabul. or worse, smuggled out of country, used on CONUS. Continental United States. Shelton looks at the map, at the pins showing Evelyn's shots. Understanding crashes over him. She's not playing chess. She's conducting the most delicate military operation he's ever seen, freezing an entire battlefield without anyone knowing they're frozen. How long does she have? Cade checks the chronometer. 33 hours, 18 minutes. Shelton sits down, puts his head in his hands. She's doing this alone. Yes, sir. Why? Because if we help, if we move troops, Taliban will know something's wrong. They'll deploy the VX or relocate it. The only way this works is if they think they're still in control. Briggs enters the office. Here's the last part. But they're not in control, she is. Cade nods. She's been in control since she arrived. Shelton looks at Briggs. You said Hale trained her. That's what she said. What did Hale teach? Briggs thinks back, remembers conversations with Hale years ago. He said the best weapon isn't the one that kills. It's the one that makes killing unnecessary. Shelton looks at the map, at the frozen battlefield. She's the weapon. Night falls. Temperature drops to 34 degrees. Wind shifts to northeast at 6 miles per hour. Evelyn relocates again. Third position in 8 hours. She's in a wadi now. Dry creek bed. Good concealment. Limited sight lines, but she doesn't need distance anymore. She's transitioning to close range work. Through her night vision, she watches Taliban camp. They've stopped moving, set up defensive positions, waiting for orders that won't come because she's been systematically destroying their communications equipment all day. Ahmed is isolated, can't talk to his commanders, can't coordinate with other units. He's a man in a box, and he doesn't even know the box is there. Evelyn pulls out her dope book, data on previous engagements, but it's not normal sniper data. It's behavioral prediction modeling. Page 1. If I disable equipment at 1,000 meters plus, enemy assumes sniper operates at long range. They advance confidently at medium range. Exploitable. Page 2. If I hit western positions only, enemy shifts east. Terrain channels them into predictable routes. Controllable. Page 3. If I destroy communications, commander sends runners. Runner transit time 12 minutes. During transit, enemy is decision blind. Vulnerable. This is what Hale taught her. The invisible war. Every shot changes what they think. What they think changes what they do. What they do determines where they go. She is the architect of their decisions. Briggs, watching from the firebase, sees her relocate, sees her disappear into darkness. He radios Cade. She's gone to ground. I've lost visual. Where do you think she is? I don't know, but wherever she is, it's exactly where she needs to be. At 2100 hours, a new player enters. A convoy of 3 vehicles approaching from the south. American, unmarked, driving without lights. They stop 2 kilometers from the firebase. 4 figures exit, dressed in MOPP suits, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear protective gear. This is the CBRN team, the real mission, the reason Evelyn is freezing the battlefield. Team leader is Captain Michael Hayes, 35 years old, explosive ordnance disposal qualified, chemical weapons specialist. He's carrying detection equipment, vapor sensors, radiation detectors, ground-penetrating radar. He radios to JSOC Command, call sign Olympus. Olympus, this is Shepherd 1, on site, beginning search. Olympus responds. Shepherd 1, hourglass minus 31 hours. Architect has bought you time, use it. Hayes looks at the mountains. Somewhere out there, A woman he's never met is holding an entire battlefield still so he can do his job. The pressure is immense. He activates his vapor sensors, begins walking a search grid. VX nerve agent is one of the most toxic substances ever created. A single drop on skin can kill in minutes. Inhaled, it kills in seconds. It's odorless, colorless, persistent. It doesn't break down easily. A canister of VX could contaminate a city for weeks. Finding it in 8 square kilometers of Afghan mountains is nearly impossible. But Hayes is very good at impossible. Evelyn watches the CBRN team through night vision, sees their green shapes moving through darkness, sees Hayes methodically working the search grid. She can't help them, can't provide overwatch. If she shifts focus to protecting them, she loses control of Taliban. The balance is perfect, fragile. One mistake and everything fails. At 2300 hours, Rafik finds her trail again. Boot prints in soft sand, faint but visible with the right light angle. He follows, silent, patient. He's hunted men for 20 years, knows how to read sign, knows how to move without sound. He's closing in. Evelyn knows he's coming, can feel it, the hair on her neck standing up, the ancient human sense of being hunted. She has a decision to make: engage him now, end the threat, or continue the mission and risk him finding her. She chooses the mission. Relocates again. 4th position, a cave in the hillside, natural cover, multiple exits, defensible. She sets up inside. Barrett rifle aimed at the cave entrance. If Rafik comes through that opening, she'll have no choice. She'll have to kill him. The first death of Operation Hourglass. Mission failure. VX deploys. 200 dead. She waits in the darkness, breathing slow, heart rate controlled, finger outside the trigger guard, safety off. Minutes pass, 10, 20, 30. Rafik doesn't come. He's found her trail to the cave, sees the entrance, knows she's inside. But he also knows caves have multiple exits. If he enters, she might escape through a back way, or worse, she might be waiting in ambush. He makes a professional decision, doesn't enter, instead positions himself 300 meters away, watches the entrance, waits for her to emerge. A siege. Evelyn realizes what he's doing, smiles in the darkness. He's good, better than she expected. But he's also predictable. He's following doctrine: contain the target, wait for support, clear the cave with overwhelming force. Doctrine is useful. Doctrine keeps soldiers alive. But doctrine is also constraining. It limits options. Hale's teaching: when your enemy follows doctrine, you own them, because you know what they'll do before they do it. She doesn't emerge from the front entrance. She goes deeper into the cave, finds the back exit, a crack in the rock barely wide enough for a human, tight squeeze. She has to remove her gear, push it through, then wriggle through herself, claustrophobic, dark. She emerges 200 meters from where Rafik is watching. Relocates again, 5th position. Rafik waits at the cave entrance until dawn, finally realizes she's gone, checks the back exit, sees the marks where she squeezed through. He radios Ahmed. She escaped again. Ahmed, how many times must we chase ghosts? She is not a ghost. She is human. Humans make mistakes. I will find her mistake. But Evelyn doesn't make mistakes. She makes choices, and every choice is calculated 3 moves ahead. Dawn breaks. Day 2 of Operation Hourglass, 24 hours remaining. Taliban forces are restless. They've been in position for 36 hours, haven't advanced, haven't retreated. Their equipment keeps breaking. Their communications keep failing. They don't understand what's happening. Some want to attack anyway, push forward despite the problems. Ahmed considers it, looks at his map, looks at his depleted capabilities, makes the decision. We hold position. Something is wrong. I don't know what, but attacking into the unknown is how men die. This is exactly what Evelyn predicted. Ahmed is cautious, smart. He won't attack without understanding the battlefield, and she's made the battlefield incomprehensible. At 800 hours, Cade approaches Briggs in the command center. "Sergeant, we need to talk about Syria." Briggs looks up. "What about Syria?" "Captain Corwin, 2018. She was involved in an operation there. It went bad." Cade pulls up a file on her laptop. After action report, heavily redacted, but some details visible. Operation Cold Front. Mission, neutralize high-value target. Corwin was the shooter. She had the shot, refused to take it. Mission failed. 3 Marines killed in the subsequent firefight. Briggs reads it. She refused a kill order. Yes, she was recommended for court-martial. Charges were dropped. Reason redacted. Why are you telling me this? Cade closes the laptop. Because JSOC might think she's compromised, unreliable. They might order us to extract her, or worse. Worse. Terminate her. Briggs stands. That's insane. She's succeeding. Is she? We don't know what she's doing out there. We don't know if the CBRN team has found the VX. We don't know if she's actually in control or if she's just lucky. Briggs points at the map, at the frozen battlefield. That's not luck, that's skill. Or it's a delusion. Maybe she thinks she's controlling them, but really they're just not attacking for their own reasons. You don't believe that? Cade hesitates. No, I don't, but my belief doesn't matter. JSOC's belief matters, and if they lose faith in her, they'll pull the plug. At 1,000 hours, Hayes radios in. Olympus, Shepherd 1. No contact on VX. We've covered 12 square kilometers. If it's here, we should have found it. Olympus, expand search radius. Hayes, we're running out of time. Hourglass minus 22 hours. Olympus, Architect's intel places the canister in your sector. Hayes, maybe Architect's intel is wrong. Silence on the radio, long silence. Then Shepherd 1 continue search, Olympus out. Hayes looks at his team. They're exhausted. MOPP suits in Afghan heat is brutal. Dehydration, heat exhaustion. They've been searching for 13 hours straight. But they don't stop, because if they fail, people die. Evelyn is on her 37th shot now. She's been engaging targets every 30 to 40 minutes, keeping Taliban reactive, keeping them thinking about the sniper instead of thinking about why they're not advancing. This shot is at a water buffalo. The animal is carrying supplies for Taliban fighters. She doesn't shoot the animal, she shoots the pack strap. The pack falls off, supplies scatter. Small chaos, but chaos nonetheless. Ahmed watches this happen, watches his men scramble to recover supplies, watches them look around nervously for the next shot. He makes a decision. Rafik, you will kill this sniper today, whatever it takes. Rafik understood. Ahmed, I don't care about honor, I don't care about fairness. Use any means, drones, spotters, bait, kill her and this ends. Rafik loads his rifle. It will be done. At 1300 hours, Shelton receives new orders. Encrypted message from JSOC. He reads it, face goes dark. He calls Briggs into his office, closes the door. JSOC thinks Corwin may be compromised. They want verification of her loyalty. Briggs, how do we verify that? Shelton, they're sending a team to observe her. If she shows any sign of working with Taliban, they have orders to terminate. You're talking about killing her. I'm talking about following orders. Briggs steps closer. Sir, she's winning. Taliban hasn't attacked. We haven't attacked. The battlefield is frozen just like her orders said. How is that compromised? Because we don't know why it's frozen. Maybe she cut a deal with them. Maybe she's feeding them information. Maybe this whole thing is a setup. You don't believe that. Shelton sits down, looks older suddenly, tired. It doesn't matter what I believe, Sergeant. It matters what JSOC believes. Hale believed in her. Hale's dead. Briggs slams his hand on the desk. Hale taught her everything she knows. He wouldn't train someone who would turn. You know that. Shelton doesn't respond, just looks at the orders on his screen. Briggs leans down, quiet, intense. Sir, give her the 22 hours, that's all she needs. If she fails, you can court-martial me for insubordination, but give her the time. Shelton looks at him. Why do you believe in her so much? Because I checked my zero like she said, and she was right, down to the 10th of a mil. Anyone who can read a rifle that precisely isn't compromised, she's just better than us. Shelton closes the laptop. I'll delay the termination team, 22 hours. After that, it's out of my hands. At 1600 hours, Rafik springs his final trap. He's learned from previous attempts, knows she's too smart for simple bait. This time, he uses human bait. He has his men capture a local villager, old man, goat herder, innocent. They tie him to a post in the open, 800 meters from Evelyn's suspected position. Rafik radios on an open frequency he knows she's monitoring. American sniper, we know you are there. We have a civilian. You have 1 hour to surrender or he dies. Evelyn hears this, sees the old man through her scope, sees the fear in his face. This is the moral test, the impossible choice. Save one innocent man and reveal her position, or let him die and continue the mission. She remembers Syria, the HVT in the market, the child in his arms, the decision she made, the 3 Marines who died because of it. She remembers Hale's words after. You were right about the child, wrong about the outcome. Sometimes refusing to act is still a choice, and choices have consequences. She has 58 minutes to decide. The old man sits in the sun, waiting to die, not understanding why. Evelyn watches through her scope, calculating, not the shot, the consequence of the shot, the cascade of events that will follow. If she reveals her position to save him, Rafik will kill her. Taliban will discover the CBRN team. VX will deploy. 200 dead. 1 life versus 200. The math is simple, brutal, unforgiving. But Evelyn is not a mathematician. She's a soldier, and soldiers don't leave people behind. She keys her radio. Olympus, this is Architect. I have a situation. She explained, the hostage, the deadline, the choice. Olympus responds, Architect, mission parameters are clear. 0 casualties, that includes you. If you compromise your position, mission fails. Copy, but if I let him die, I'm the casualty, just a different kind. Silence. Then a different voice, older, more authority. Architect, this is Olympus Actual, General Marks. I'm reading you have 54 minutes to deadline. Correct, sir. Can you save him without revealing your position? I don't know, sir. Then you have 54 minutes to figure it out, because I didn't send you there to become a killer. I sent you there to be an architect, so build something. Olympus out. The radio goes silent. Evelyn lowers her rifle, thinks. Hale's training comes back. The invisible war isn't fought with bullets, it's fought with choices. Make them choose wrong, make them defeat themselves. She has an idea, dangerous, complex, probably won't work. She tries it anyway. She fires a shot, not at the hostage, not at Rafik, at a rock formation 300 meters east of the hostage position. The bullet hits, ricochets, sparks. Taliban fighters dive for cover, looking east, thinking the shot came from that direction. She fires again, different position, 400 meters west, another ricochet. Now they're confused, shots from east and west, multiple snipers. She fires a third time, north, another spark. Rafik sees what she's doing. She's creating false positions, making us think there's more than one shooter. Ignore it, hold the hostage, she'll reveal herself. But his men are nervous now, scanning in all directions, fingers on triggers, adrenaline high. She fires a fourth shot. This one is different. She shoots the rope binding the hostage to the post, 780 meters, moving target as the rope sways in wind. The rope parts, the old man falls, confusion. Taliban fighters rush toward him. Rafik screams orders. Hold position, it's a trick. But they're not listening anymore. They're reacting. They've lost discipline. The old man runs, stumbles, falls, gets up, runs again. He's heading toward Firebase Viper, toward safety. Evelyn provides cover fire, not at the Taliban, at the ground near their feet, kicking up dust, making them duck, making them hesitate just long enough for the old man to get distance. He makes it, crosses into American lines, collapses, safe. Rafik realizes what just happened. She saved the hostage without revealing her position, used misdirection, created chaos, exploited it. He radios Ahmed. She is not human, she is something else. Ahmed, what do you mean? No human shoots like this. No human thinks like this. She is. He searches for the word. She is Hale. Ahmed goes quiet. Hale is dead. I know, but his ghost is here. At 1800 hours, Cade runs into the command center. Sir, CBRN team has something. Shelton, the VX. Not yet, but they found a cave system. Natural, extensive. Hayes thinks the canister might be cached inside. How long to search it? He estimates 8 hours. Shelton checks the chronometer. We have 18 hours left on hourglass. That's cutting it close. Hayes says it's the best lead they've had. If the VX is anywhere, it's there. Shelton makes the call. Tell him to search the caves, all of them, whatever it takes. Hayes receives the order, looks at the cave entrance. Dark, deep, unknown. His team enters. Night vision, vapor sensors, step by careful step into the earth. Evelyn watches from her position. She can't see the caves, can't see Hayes, but she knows they're close, knows the endgame is approaching. She just has to hold the line 16 more hours. 16 hours. 960 minutes. 57,600 seconds. The hourglass is running low. At 2,000 hours, full darkness, Rafik makes his move. He's done being patient, done playing games. He has 20 men, full assault. They're going to sweep every position she might be hiding, flush her out, kill her. They advance in a line, methodical, professional, checking every wadi, every cave, every depression in the ground. Evelyn sees them coming. She's outnumbered 20-1, can't fight them all, can't run forever. For the first time since she arrived, she considers the possibility of failure. But then she remembers something Hale said. When you're outnumbered, don't fight the numbers. Change the equation. She keys her radio. Olympus architect, I need an asset. What kind of asset? Anything that makes noise, lots of noise. Grid 41 Charlie. Stand by. 3 minutes later, an American artillery battery 12 kilometers away fires a single 155 illumination round. High explosive shell that deploys a parachute flare. The flare ignites over grid 41 Charlie, 300,000 candle power, bright as day, drifting slowly down on its parachute. The area lights up. Taliban fighters are suddenly exposed, visible, vulnerable. They panic, scatter, run for cover. Rafik screams at them to hold position, but fear is stronger than discipline. The line breaks, the sweep collapses. Evelyn escapes in the chaos, relocates again. Rafik watches his men scatter, realizes she just used American artillery not to kill his men but to scare them. Another psychological operation, another invisible war tactic. He sits down on a rock, exhausted, defeated. Ahmed, I cannot catch her. She is always 3 moves ahead, always. Ahmed, then we change the game. We stop chasing her. We wait for her to come to us. She will not come. She will, because she cannot freeze us forever. Eventually something will break, and when it does, we will be ready. At 2300 hours, Hayes radios from deep in the cave system. Olympus, Shepherd 1, we've found something. Report. Chemical residue, trace amounts of organophosphate, consistent with VX precursors. The canister was here, recently. Was past tense. Yes, it's been moved, within the last 72 hours. Silence on the radio. Then Shepherd 1, find it, whatever it takes. Hourglass minus 13 hours. Hayes looks at his team. They're running on adrenaline now, past exhaustion, into the zone where humans find reserves they didn't know they had. We keep searching, he says. They go deeper into the caves, deeper into the earth, following trace chemical signatures, parts per billion, ghost traces that might lead nowhere. Or might lead to a canister of death. At midnight, Evelyn is on her 60-second shot. She's been engaging targets for 40 hours straight. No sleep, combat rations, water from her camelback, adrenaline and discipline keeping her functional. She's beyond tired, into a state where the body moves on trained instinct and the mind floats above it, watching, calculating, surviving. This shot is at a Taliban fighter's water bottle. She punctures it. Water spills, small thing, but it adds to the cumulative psychological pressure. Nothing works, nothing lasts. The American ghost is everywhere and nowhere. Ahmed sees his men's faces, sees the fear building, the superstition. They're starting to believe she's actually supernatural. He addresses them. She is not a ghost. She is a woman with a rifle. She bleeds, she tires. She will make a mistake, and when she does, we will kill her. But privately to his lieutenant he says, I have fought Americans for 20 years. I have never seen anything like this. What do we do? Ahmed looks at the mountains. We wait. Time is our ally now. She cannot sustain this forever. But time is not his ally. Time is Evelyn's weapon. Every hour she delays is an hour the CBRN team searches. Every minute she freezes the battlefield is a minute closer to finding the VX. At 100 hours, Shelton receives a message from JSOC. Termination team is inbound. ETA 6 hours. If Corwin has not completed mission by then, she will be extracted or eliminated. Shelton shows Briggs, they're serious. She has 12 hours left on Hourglass. They're pulling her with 6 hours to go. They think she's lost control, think the mission is compromised. Briggs looks at the map, at the still frozen battlefield. Does that look like someone who's lost control? Shelton doesn't answer, just stares at the chronometer counting down. At 300 hours, Hayes finds it, deep in the cave system, a canister, 30 centimeters tall, unmarked, rigged with anti-tamper devices, wired to explode if moved incorrectly. He radios, Olympus Shepherd 1, jackpot, repeat jackpot, VX canister located, beginning render safe procedures. How long? Hayes examines the booby traps, 3 separate trigger mechanisms. One wrong move and the VX disperses. Everyone in the cave dies. Everyone downwind for 5 kilometers dies. 18 minutes, if everything goes perfectly. You have 18 minutes, Olympus out. Hayes looks at his team. Nobody breathe near me. I need absolute stillness. He begins. Wire cutters, steady hands. Each snip is a bet against death. At 3:15 hours, Taliban forces hear the explosion. It's faint, distant, but unmistakable. Something detonated to the south. Ahmed radios all positions. What was that? Nobody knows. No visual, no secondary explosions. Just one muffled thump from underground. Ahmed makes a decision. Send scouts, find out what happened. Taliban fighters begin moving south, toward the cave system, toward Hayes and his team. Toward the VX canister, with 6 minutes left on the render safe procedure. Evelyn sees them moving, realizes what's happening, keys her radio. Olympus, Taliban forces moving towards CBRN team position. I need to redirect them. Negative architect, maintain 0 casualties protocol. They're going to stumble onto Hayes. If that happens, mission fails. You have your orders. She looks through her scope, sees Taliban fighters 200 meters from the cave entrance, sees Hayes inside, working on the canister, unaware of the threat approaching. She has to choose, follow orders or save lives. She fires, not at Taliban, at the cave entrance, collapses the mouth of the cave with precisely placed shots at the structural weak points in the rock. The entrance seals. Taliban fighters are blocked out. Hayes and team are blocked in. Hayes radios. Architect, what the hell did you just do? We're trapped. Bought you time. Finish the procedure. We can't get out. Finish the procedure first, then we'll worry about getting out. Taliban fighters are at the collapsed entrance now, trying to dig through, but the rocks are too heavy, too many. Ahmed realizes she is protecting something in that cave. Whatever is in there, that is what this has all been about. He orders his men, dig faster, find out what they are hiding. Inside the cave, Hayes is on the final trigger mechanism. His hands are shaking, not from fear, from adrenaline and exhaustion and the weight of knowing that if he fails, everyone dies. He cuts the final wire. The anti-tamper device disarms. The VX canister is safe. He radios. Olympus Shepherd 1, render safe complete, VX is secured. The radio erupts in cheers. JSOC command, Pentagon observers, everyone who has been watching this operation for 48 hours. But Hayes isn't celebrating. We're still trapped in here, and Taliban is digging us out. Evelyn, Olympus, I need an extraction for Shepherd team, and I need it now. Architect, Taliban is 200 meters from your position. If we send helicopters, they'll engage. Then I'll provide cover. You're one person. I'm enough. At 3:20 hours, 2 Blackhawk helicopters launch from Firebase Viper, fast and low, racing toward the cave system. Taliban sees them coming, brings up heavy weapons, RPGs, machine guns. Evelyn is already engaging. She's not shooting to disable anymore. She's shooting to suppress. Keep their heads down. Keep them from aiming at the helicopters. She fires, reloads, fires. Her Barrett rifle is a metronome of violence. 50 caliber rounds slamming into rocks near Taliban positions, not killing, just making them duck, making them flinch. The helicopters arrive, hover over the cave. Fast rope teams descend, blow the rocks with shaped charges, extract Hayes and his team. VX canister secured in a containment vessel. 90 seconds on the ground, then airborne again. Taliban fires, RPGs streak through the air, machine guns open up. One helicopter takes hits, shrapnel damage to the tail rotor. The pilot fights for control. The aircraft wobbles, starts to spin. Evelyn sees this, makes a decision. She shoots the RPG gunner who's reloading for a second shot, shoots him in the shoulder, non-lethal, but he drops the weapon, screams, stops firing. First casualty of Operation Hourglass. Mission parameters violated. But the helicopter stabilizes, limps back toward the firebase. Everyone aboard survives. Evelyn radios. Olympus Architect, VX is secure, mission complete, but I have one WIA on enemy side. Silence. Then General Mark's voice. Architect, confirm. You wounded an enemy combatant. Yes, sir, to prevent him from shooting down a helicopter. I had to choose. Understood, return to base. We'll debrief there. The helicopters disappear into the darkness. The sound of rotors fades. Evelyn is alone on the mountain, surrounded by Taliban forces who now know where she is, who are angry, who want revenge. She packs her gear, one last time prepares to move. But Rafik is already there, 300 meters away, rifle aimed. He has the shot, center mass. Easy. His finger is on the trigger. Through her scope, Evelyn sees him, sees his face, sees the decision in his eyes. She doesn't move, doesn't take cover, just looks at him through the optics, waiting. Rafik's radio crackles, Ahmed's voice. Rafik, the helicopters are gone, the Americans got what they came for, let her go. She wounded Khalil. Khalil will live, but if you shoot her now, more helicopters come, more fighting, we have lost enough. Rafik's finger relaxes on the trigger. Why did she come here? Why freeze the battlefield for 2 days just to rescue a box? Ahmed, I don't know, but I know this. She could have killed us all. She chose not to. Maybe that means something. Rafik lowers his rifle, watches Evelyn through his scope. She's packing her gear, moving carefully, professionally. He radios her on an open frequency. American sniper, I could have killed you many times. Why didn't you kill me? Evelyn stops packing, keys her radio. Because dead enemies become martyrs, confused enemies become cautious. You'll remember this operation. You'll hesitate next time. You think I will fear you? No, I think you'll respect the possibility that war can be won without killing, and respect is more powerful than fear. Rafik doesn't respond, just watches her disappear into the darkness. Ahmed finds him later. Did you let her go? Yes. Why? Rafik looks at the mountain where she vanished, because Hale would have. At 600 hours, Evelyn walks through the gates of Firebase Viper. She's been awake for 52 hours, covered 40 kilometers on foot, fired 73 shots, killed no one except her final target where she had no choice. The firebase is silent, soldiers staring. They don't know what she did, don't know about the VX, don't know about Operation Hourglass. They just know she appeared 2 days ago, disappeared into the mountains, and came back alive. Briggs meets her at the gate, takes her rifle. Ma'am, you need medical attention. I need to debrief first. Medical, that's in order. She doesn't argue. Too tired to argue, lets him lead her to the aid station. The medic examines her. Dehydration, exhaustion, minor shrapnel wounds from the cave collapse, nothing serious, nothing that won't heal. While he works, Shelton enters. Captain Corwin, you violated mission parameters. 1 casualty. Yes, sir. You were ordered 0 casualties, both sides. I know, sir. Why did you violate orders? She looks at him, eyes bloodshot but clear. Because the order was wrong. 0 casualties is a noble goal, but when you have to choose between 1 wounded enemy and 4 dead Americans, the math is simple. Shelton studies her. Some would call that disobedience. Some would call it leadership. He almost smiles, almost. Hale taught you well. Hale taught me to think. The rest I figured out myself. Shelton hands her a tablet, shows her after-action reports. VX canister secured, rendered safe. No civilian casualties, no friendly casualties. 1 enemy WIA who will recover fully. JSOC is calling this the most successful counter-WMD operation in modern history. 0 footprint, 0 political blowback. Taliban doesn't even know what we were really doing. Good. They want to debrief you, understand your tactics, replicate them. Evelyn shakes her head. Can't be replicated. This worked because of specific conditions, specific enemy, specific terrain. Try it somewhere else and people die. Then what do we learn from this? That war doesn't always have to be loud. Sometimes the most powerful weapon is the one that never fires. Shelton extends his hand. She shakes it. Welcome back, Captain. She stands, walks outside. The sun is rising over the mountains. Golden light on the peaks, beautiful. Briggs finds her there. Ma'am, I checked my 0, like you said, you were right. I know. How did you know my ammunition lot ran hot? I didn't. I calculated it based on your shot group pattern from the day before. Slight vertical stringing, indicated velocity variance. Checked your lot number, made an educated guess. Briggs shakes his head. That's not a guess, that's skill. Skill is just educated guessing, done fast enough to matter. He hands her something, a notebook. Hale's dope book from his last deployment. He wanted you to have it, asked me to hold it until you were ready. She opens it, sees Hale's handwriting, his notes, his lessons, his philosophy. Final entry, teach them to win without killing, but teach them when to break that rule. The difference is wisdom. She closes the book. Thank you, Sergeant. You going to stay, train others? No, I have another mission. Where? She looks at the tablet. New orders encrypted. Can't tell you. Classified. Everything I do is classified. That's the job. She walks toward the helicopter pad. A Blackhawk is waiting. Rotors already turning. Briggs calls after her. Will you ever kill again? She stops, turns. Sergeant, I've killed 17 people in my career. Everyone haunts me. I'll kill again if I have to, but only if there's no other choice. Because the ghosts don't fade, they just wait. She boards the helicopter. It lifts off, disappears into the morning sky. Briggs watches it go, looks down at his rifle. At the 0 she corrected, perfect. Cade joins him. Where's she going? Somewhere someone needs an architect. What does that mean? Briggs looks at the mountains, at the battlefield that was frozen for 48 hours by one woman with a rifle and a philosophy. It means somewhere, right now, there's a problem that looks impossible, and she's going to solve it without anyone knowing she was there. That's a lonely way to fight. Maybe, but it's effective. At JSOC headquarters, General Marks closes Evelyn's file, looks at his aide. Corwin's psych eval flagged her as high empathy risk. The aide nods. Yes, sir. Some analysts think that makes her unreliable. Those analysts are idiots. High empathy is exactly why I send her. She sees the cost of violence, so she finds ways to win without it. Sir, her next assignment. Ukraine. Russian forces are massing near Odessa. State Department wants a de-escalation without NATO involvement. Marks looks at the mission brief. Send her. If anyone can stop a war without starting one, it's the architect. At Arlington National Cemetery 3 days later, a woman stands at a grave. She's alone. Early morning, mist on the grass. The headstone reads, Colonel James Hale, 1965 to 2022. The invisible war is won without firing. She places a rifle against the headstone. Hale's rifle. The one she carried for 48 hours in Afghanistan. The one that fired 73 shots and took one life only when there was no other choice. She whispers, Mission complete, Gunny. VX is secure. Taliban is intact. Nobody knows we were there, just like you taught me. She stands, salutes. But I broke the rule. One wounded, I had to choose. I hope you understand. Wind moves through the trees. Morning light filters through leaves. She imagines she hears his voice. You chose right. That's what I trained you for. Not to follow rules, but to know when to break them. Her phone vibrates. Encrypted message. New orders, Odessa, 48 hours, 0 casualties. She reads it, looks at the grave one more time. Time to go build something else. She walks away, through the rows of white headstones, through the morning mist, a ghost among ghosts. Behind her, the rifle remains against Hale's grave, a monument, a memory, a promise that war can be won without death if you're willing to be patient enough, smart enough, invisible enough. The architect is gone, but somewhere a battlefield is about to freeze, and nobody will know why. That's the invisible war, won in silence, remembered by no one except the people who didn't die. Firebase Viper, 36 hours after Operation Hourglass completion. The base is different now, quieter. Soldiers move with the careful respect of men who survived something they don't fully understand. They know Captain Evelyn Corwin froze an entire battlefield for 2 days. They don't know why, don't know about the VX nerve agent, don't know how close they came to breathing their last. Classified operations are like that. The people who survive them never know the real story. Evelyn stands in the Firebase Operations Center. Sleep deprivation makes the edges of her vision soft. 72 hours awake minus 4 hours of forced rest. The human body can sustain this for maybe another 48 hours before cognitive function collapses. After that, hallucinations, mistakes, death. She's reading after-action reports on a tablet. Taliban casualty assessment. 0 killed, 1 wounded. Ahmed's forces withdrew north after the helicopter extraction. Confused, demoralized, uncertain what happened. The psychological effect will last months, maybe years. They'll tell stories about the ghost sniper who could hit anything but chose not to kill. Stories become legends. Legends become deterrents. Men hesitate before attacking when they remember the last time they tried. Colonel Shelton enters, hands her a sat phone, encrypted. JSOC wants to talk to you personally. She takes the phone, steps outside into the Afghan sun, 47 degrees, wind from the northwest at 8 miles per hour. Her body automatically catalogs the data, wind speed, temperature, humidity. The sniper's mind never stops calculating. She keys the phone. Corwin. General Mark's voice. 62 years old, 4 stars, commander of Joint Special Operations Command, a man who decides which operations happen and which soldiers execute them. Captain, I'm reading your AAR. 1 enemy wounded in 48 hours. That's a 99.4% success rate on 0 casualty parameters. Yes, sir. Some people here think that 0.6% failure means you're unreliable, that you can't follow orders when it matters. Evelyn watches a dust devil spin across the helicopter pad. Small tornado of sand and wind, beautiful in its chaos. Sir, if I'd followed orders exactly, 4 Americans would be dead. The helicopter would have crashed. The VX canister might have been compromised in the wreckage. I traded 1 wounded enemy for 4 American lives and mission success. I'd make that trade again. Silence on the line, long enough that she wonders if the connection dropped. Then Mark speaks. That's exactly the answer I wanted to hear. You understand the difference between orders and objectives. Orders are guidelines, objectives are absolutes. Your objective was secure the VX. You did. The rest is noise. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me yet. I'm sending you to Ukraine, Odessa. Russian forces are massing on the border, armored columns, artillery, air support. They're preparing to take the city. State Department estimates 2,000 civilian casualties in the first 48 hours if they attack. Evelyn's stomach tightens. 2,000, what's my objective? Freeze the battlefield. Make both sides think attacking is suicide without either side knowing you're there. Buy us 72 hours for diplomacy to work. Sir, Afghanistan was 80 Taliban fighters. Odessa is what? 10,000 Russian regulars. Closer to 15,000, plus Ukrainian defenders. You'll be operating in an urban environment. No mountains to hide in. No caves. Just city streets and apartment buildings and civilians everywhere. She closes her eyes, calculates the variables, urban terrain, multiple factions, civilians in the crossfire, equipment instead of people. The math is impossible. Sir, I need support, ISR assets, drones, real-time intelligence. You'll have it. We're positioning a Reaper over Odessa. You'll have eyes in the sky. But the Reaper can't fire. Political considerations. If Russia detects American drone strikes, this becomes WW3. Your weapons free for personal rifle only. Everything else is observation. Rules of engagement. Same as Afghanistan. 0 casualties if possible. Minimum casualties if impossible. Priority is delay. Make them think. Make them hesitate. Make them choose to not fight. And if they choose to fight anyway? Marx pauses. Then you've bought 72 hours and 2,000 people die instead of dying today. Still a win. Not a good win, but the only win available. She understands. Sometimes the mission isn't save everyone. Sometimes it's save some. The calculus of war is brutal. When do I leave? 30 minutes. A C-17 is inbound to extract you. You'll infill Odessa via Halo jump. Wheels up in 3 hours. Boots on ground in Odessa in 18 hours. Then you have 72 hours to stop a war. Sir, I need to know. Why me? There are other operators, other snipers. Why send 1 person to stop 15,000? Mark's voice softens, almost paternal. Because 15,000 soldiers follow orders. You understand why orders exist. That makes you more powerful than all of them combined. Mark's out. The line goes dead. Evelyn stares at the phone. 72 hours to stop a war. She did 48 in Afghanistan with 1 canister of VX. This is 3 days with an entire army. Hale's voice in her memory. The invisible war isn't about odds, it's about options. Give them options, make their choices for them, win before the first shot. She walks back inside. Briggs is waiting. "Ma'am, I heard you're leaving." 30 minutes. Where? Classified. He nods, expected that answer, pulls something from his pocket, a small notebook, weathered, stained. "Hale's range book, not the dope book I gave you. This one's different. It's his tactics journal. Every lesson he learned, every mistake he made, every impossible shot he figured out how to make possible." She takes it, opens to a random page, sees Hale's handwriting, tight, precise. "Urban Environment Rule 7, high ground is a trap. Everyone expects you there. Live in the low places, sewers, basements, parking garages, own the beneath." She looks at Briggs. "This is invaluable." "I know, that's why I kept it. And that's why I'm giving it to you now. Because wherever you're going to need every advantage." She extends her hand. He shakes it. "Sergeant, you're one of the best shooters I've ever met, but you follow doctrine too much. Sometimes doctrine gets people killed." "You sound like Hale." "Good, that means he trained me right." She releases his hand, turns to leave. "Ma'am," Briggs calls, "will I see you again?" She stops, doesn't turn around. "If you do, it means I failed. Because the only time people see me is when everything goes wrong." She walks out, toward the helicopter pad, toward the C-17, toward Odessa. Toward 15,000 Russians, and the impossible mission of stopping them without firing a shot. 18 hours later, Odessa, Ukraine, 200 hours local time. Evelyn exits the back of a C-17 at 28,000 feet. Halo jump. High altitude, low opening. The air is thin, cold. -40 degrees at altitude. Her oxygen mask feeds her compressed air. Without it, she'd be unconscious in 30 seconds, dead in 3 minutes. She falls, terminal velocity, 120 miles per hour. The city below is a grid of lights, orange street lamps, white headlights, red tail lights. From this height it looks peaceful, beautiful, like a circuit board, electronic, logical. At 2,000 feet she pulls her chute. The parachute deploys, slows her fall. She guides toward a dark section of the city, industrial district, warehouses, abandoned factories, places where a parachute landing won't attract attention. She lands in an alley between two concrete buildings, rolls, absorbs impact, gathers her chute, buries it in a dumpster. Within 90 seconds of landing, there's no evidence she was ever there. She's carrying minimal gear. M2010 rifle, suppressed, folding stock for urban concealment, 200 rounds of match ammunition, night vision, thermal optic, laser rangefinder, satellite radio, 4 days of rations, 2 days of water. Everything fits in a 45-liter pack. She moves through the city, silent, a ghost in the darkness. Odessa is old, Soviet architecture mixed with modern construction. Wide boulevards, narrow alleys, apartment blocks that look identical, easy to get lost, easy to hide. Her radio crackles. "Architect, this is Olympus, confirming you on ground Odessa." "Confirmed, beginning reconnaissance." "Copy. Russian forces are 12 kilometers east, 2 armored battalions, 1 mechanized infantry regiment, artillery support. They're staging for an assault. Ukrainian defenders are dug in along the eastern suburbs. Both sides are on edge. 1 spark and this goes hot." "Understood. What's my ISR feed?" "Reaper drone is on station, transmitting to your tablet. Refresh every 30 seconds. It's not real time, but close enough." She pulls out the tablet, military grade, hardened. The screen shows a top-down view of Odessa, thermal imagery. She can see Russian positions, tanks, APCs, trucks. Thousands of heat signatures clustered in attack formation. On the opposite side, Ukrainian positions. Fewer vehicles, more infantry, defensive posture. They're outnumbered 3-1. If Russia attacks, Ukraine loses. If Ukraine tries to preempt, Russia crushes them. Stalemate, but stalemates don't last. Someone always blinks. Her job is to make sure when they blink, they see something that makes them not want to fight. She finds a position, abandoned office building, 8 stories. Good sight lines east toward Russian positions. She climbs the stairs, no elevator, doesn't matter. She's carried heavier loads farther. 8th floor, corner office. Windows overlooking the city. She sets up, rifle on bipod, tablet showing the drone feed, radio on encrypted frequency. She's a one-woman command center. Through her scope, she can see Russian positions. 6,800 meters. Long range but manageable. She can see individual soldiers, can see vehicle types, can count antenna arrays. This is different from Afghanistan. Their Taliban was disorganized, tribal, emotional. Here she's facing a professional military. Russian army, trained, disciplined, experienced. They've fought in Chechnya, Georgia, Syria. They know war. But they don't know her. She studies the Russian formation, identifies key assets, command vehicles with multiple antennas, artillery pieces, tank company commander vehicles marked with extra equipment. If she can disable these, the Russian attack loses coordination, becomes chaotic, less effective. But there's a problem. Russian doctrine emphasizes redundancy. Every command vehicle has a backup. Every artillery piece has another in reserve. Disabling one won't stop the attack. It'll just delay it. She needs something bigger, something that makes them question the entire operation. She opens Hale's tactics journal, flips to the urban warfare section, reads his notes. Urban Rule 14. Professional armies fear guerrilla tactics. Make them think they're facing insurgents, not military. Insurgents are unpredictable. Armies hesitate against unpredictability. An idea forms, dangerous, complex, might not work. She tries it anyway. At 400 hours, Russian forward observer is scanning Ukrainian lines through thermal optics, looking for defensive positions, marking targets for artillery. A bullet hits his optic, shatters the lens, doesn't touch him. He drops, startled, looks around. Where did that come from? He's 40 kilometers from Ukrainian lines. No way their snipers can reach this far, but someone just hit his equipment with surgical precision. He reports to his commander, "Sir, I'm taking fire." From where? Unknown. Long range, very long range. The commander checks the map. Ukrainian positions are too far. You're imagining things. Sir, my optic is destroyed. I'm not imagining that. The commander sends a patrol. They find nothing. No shooter, no spent brass, no evidence. But the forward observer is shaken. Something out there can hit him and he can't see it, can't fight it. That's psychological warfare. That's fear. At 4:30 hours, Evelyn shoots again. Different target, Russian artillery spotter. She hits his radio antenna, snaps it off. Communications go dead. The spotter reports, "Command, I've lost comms. Switch to backup frequency." He does. Evelyn shoots the backup antenna. Now he has no comms at all. The spotter is isolated, alone, in the dark with an invisible enemy who knows exactly where he is. He abandons his position, retreats to the main formation, reports to his commander, "Sir, someone's targeting our observation posts. They're not killing us. They're blinding us." The Russian commander is Colonel Volkov, 52 years old, 30 years in the army, veteran of 2 wars, a man who doesn't spook easily, but this is unusual. Snipers kill. They don't disable. this is something else. He calls his intelligence officer. What do we know about Ukrainian sniper capabilities? Standard issue rifles effective to 800 meters. They don't have the equipment to reach our positions. Then who's shooting? Unknown, sir. Volkov looks at the map. His observation posts are being systematically neutralized. Without forward observers, his artillery is firing blind. Without radio, his units can't coordinate. The attack is scheduled for 600 hours, 2 hours away, but now he's operating in fog. He makes a decision. Delay the attack. I want reconnaissance drones up. Find this shooter. Evelyn hears this over intercepted Russian communications. She's monitoring their frequencies, watching their patterns. She just bought 2 hours. But 2 hours isn't 72. She needs more. At 500 hours, she shifts tactics, starts targeting Ukrainian positions, shoots a Ukrainian machine gun emplacement, hits the weapons feed tray, jams it. Ukrainian defenders panic. We're taking fire. From where? Unknown, long range. Now both sides think they're being attacked by an unknown third party. Both sides are confused. Both sides are hesitant. This is exactly what she wants. At 600 hours, the scheduled Russian attack time, nothing happens. Volkov hasn't given the order. He's waiting for his drones to find the shooter. But Evelyn is already gone, relocated, 4th position in 6 hours. She's in a different building now, 3 kilometers south, different angle, different sight lines. Russian drones scan the area where she was, find nothing. The building is empty, no heat signature, no evidence. Volkov receives the report. Sir, we found nothing. That's impossible. Someone shot from that sector. We swept it completely, nothing there. Volkov is a rational man. Rational men don't believe in ghosts, but the evidence suggests something that doesn't make sense. A shooter who can hit targets at extreme range, who doesn't kill, who disappears without trace. He remembers stories from Afghanistan about an American sniper called the Architect, someone who could freeze battlefields, someone who won without fighting. He dismisses the thought, Americans aren't here. This is Ukraine, a regional conflict, not a superpower intervention. But doubt is planted, and doubt grows. At 800 hours, Evelyn is watching the Russian formation through her drone feed. They're not moving, not attacking, just sitting in position, confused, uncertain. She's bought 8 hours, 64 left to go. Her radio crackles. Architect Olympus, good work. Russian attack is delayed, but we have a new problem. Report. Ukrainian command thinks Russia sent a sabotage team into the city. They're organizing a sweep. If they find you, they'll think you're Russian. You'll be compromised. Evelyn curses silently. This is the problem with invisible operations. Both sides think you're the enemy. How long until they start sweeping? 30 minutes. She looks at her position. Good for overwatch, bad for escape. If Ukrainian forces sweep this building, she's trapped. She packs, moves, 5th position. She's running out of buildings, running out of hiding places. Urban terrain is unforgiving. Everywhere has sight lines. Everywhere has access points. Nowhere is truly safe. She finds a parking garage. Underground, 3 levels deep, abandoned vehicles, darkness. Good concealment but limited visibility. She sets up in the lowest level, uses a storm drain access as an escape route, always thinking 3 moves ahead. At 900 hours, Ukrainian sweep teams enter the building she just left. They find nothing, but they're getting closer, tightening the net. Eventually, they'll find her. She needs to redirect them, give them a different target. She shoots again, this time at a Russian vehicle on the far eastern edge of their formation, hits the fuel tank, doesn't puncture it, just dents it, loud metallic bang. The crew scrambles out thinking they're under attack. Russian forces go on alert, scan for threats, find nothing. But now they're facing east, away from Odessa, toward empty countryside. Ukrainian forces see Russian forces oriented east. Think Russia is distracted. Consider launching a preemptive strike. Evelyn shoots a Ukrainian forward position, hits their observation post, breaks the window, glass shatters. Ukrainians think Russia is targeting them specifically. Both sides are now convinced the other side shot first. Both sides are preparing to respond. The spiral toward violence is accelerating. This is the danger of the invisible war. When you manipulate both sides, sometimes they manipulate themselves into fighting. She needs to break the cycle, give them a reason to pause. She opens Hale's journal, reads Urban Rule 23. When both sides think they're under attack, give them a common enemy. Make them think they're both victims. She has an idea, radical, dangerous, will probably get her killed. She does it anyway. At 1,000 hours, she positions herself between Russian and Ukrainian lines. No man's land. The kill zone. Anyone in this space gets shot by both sides. She sets up in the open, on a street, visible, deliberate. Then she shoots both sides simultaneously. Russian vehicle to the east, Ukrainian position to the west, 2 shots, 3 seconds apart. Both sides see muzzle flash from the same location. Both sides realize someone is between them, someone who's not Russian or Ukrainian, someone else. Russian forces report, "Sir, we have visual on shooter, grid 34 Delta, unknown combatant." Ukrainian forces report, "Command, we see the sniper. He's between us and Russian lines, not one of ours." Both commanders hear these reports. Both realize the same thing. There's a third party operating in their battle space. Someone who's been shooting both sides. Someone who's trying to start a war between them. Volkov radios Ukrainian command on an emergency frequency. International distress. Ukrainian command, this is Russian Colonel Volkov. We have a situation. Unknown combatant is operating between our lines. Are you tracking this? Ukrainian commander General Petrov responds, 60 years old, veteran of Soviet Afghanistan, a man who knows Volkov by reputation. Russian command, we confirm, unknown sniper, not our asset. Who is it? Unknown, but they've been targeting both of us, trying to provoke engagement. Volkov understands. Someone wants us to fight. Agreed. Recommendation. Ceasefire 48 hours. We locate this shooter together, eliminate them. Then we discuss our disagreement. Petrov considers. A ceasefire means Russia doesn't attack. Ukraine doesn't have to defend. Both sides save lives. The shooter gets sacrificed. Acceptable trade. Agreed. Ceasefire effective immediately. Joint operation to eliminate the third party. Both sides stand down. Artillery safeties engaged. Tank crews hold fire. Infantry lowers weapons. The battlefield freezes. Not because Evelyn made them afraid to fight each other, because she made them want to fight her together. In the parking garage, Evelyn watches this unfold on her drone feed. Russian and Ukrainian forces are coordinating, sharing intel, planning a joint operation. To kill her. She radios Olympus, "I have a problem. We're tracking. You just united 2 enemies against you. That's either brilliant or suicidal." Both. How long until they start the search? 20 minutes. They're organizing sweep teams, combined Russian-Ukrainian forces, 300 soldiers, thermal optics, drones, dogs. They will find you. Evelyn looks at her escape routes. Storm drain leads to the sewer system. She can move underground, but sewers are linear, limited exits, easy to trap someone inside. She needs a better option. She checks Hale's journal, Urban Rule 31. When hunted by superior numbers, become multiple targets. Make them think you're a team, not an individual. She can't clone herself, but she can create the illusion of multiple shooters. She sets up her rifle in the parking garage, aimed at a Russian position, tied to a timer trigger, fishing line attached to the trigger, weight on the other end. When the weight drops, the line pulls, the trigger fires. The weight is a water bottle with a small hole. Water drips out. Eventually, the bottle is light enough that the counterweight pulls the trigger. Delayed firing mechanism. No electronics. No batteries, just physics and time. She sets it for 30 minutes. Then she moves to a completely different location, 2 kilometers away, sets up again. Second rifle. She carried a backup. Lightweight AR platform. Not as accurate as her M2010, but good enough for close range work. She waits. At 10:45 hours, her first rifle fires. The shot hits a Russian vehicle. Soldiers scramble, report the position. Shooter in parking garage, grid 34 Delta. Sweep teams converge. 300 soldiers moving toward the garage, surrounding it. Thermal optics scan the building, see nothing. The rifle is cold now. No heat signature. They enter, clear the garage level by level, find the rifle tied to the timer mechanism. Volkov examines it. Clever, delayed fire, she's not here. Where is she? I don't know, but she wants us to think she is. At the same moment, Evelyn fires her second rifle. From 2 kilometers away, hits a Ukrainian position. Light damage. The shot is traced back to her location. Now sweep teams think there are 2 shooters, one at the garage, one 2 kilometers south. They split their forces, half to each location. Evelyn is already moving. 6th position. She's in a residential building now, apartment complex. Civilians everywhere. Women, children, elderly. Human shields she didn't ask for but will use if necessary. She sets up in an abandoned apartment. 4th floor, corner unit, good visibility, multiple escape routes through adjacent apartments. Her tablet shows Russian and Ukrainian forces sweeping the city. They're coordinated, professional, methodical. They will find her eventually. It's just math. 300 searchers versus 1 target in a defined area. Time is on their side. But time is her weapon. Every hour they search is an hour they're not fighting. Every minute they cooperate is a minute they're not enemies. She just needs to survive until diplomacy works. 72 hours. She's used 12, 60 left. At 1200 hours, she hears voices in the hallway outside her apartment. Russian. They're clearing the building floor by floor. She can't shoot them, too many civilians. Gunfire in an apartment building will cause panic, people running, chaos, casualties. She uses the adjacent apartment escape route, moves through a hole she made in the wall, sheet rock and plaster, easy to breach quietly. She's in the next apartment, empty. She moves through it, into the hallway, down the back stairs, out a service exit. Behind her, Russian soldiers enter the apartment she was in, find evidence. Fresh coffee in a cup, still warm, rifle bipod impressions in the carpet. They radio. She was here minutes ago, we just missed her. The search intensifies. More soldiers, tighter grid. They're learning her patterns, learning how she moves. Eventually they'll predict her next position. Eventually they'll be waiting. At 1400 hours, Evelyn is in her 7th position. She's running out of energy. 40 hours awake now. Stimulants can only carry her so far. Eventually, the body shuts down, refuses to cooperate. She chews a caffeine tablet, washes it down with water, feels the chemical alertness kick in. Artificial, temporary, but enough. Her radio crackles. Architect Olympus, we have a development. Report. Chinese government is offering to mediate between Russia and Ukraine. Both sides are considering it. If they accept, you've succeeded. They'll cease fire for negotiations. How long until they decide? Unknown, could be hours, could be days. I don't have days. I have maybe 24 hours before they find me. Understood. Hold out as long as possible. We're working diplomatic channels. Marks out. The radio goes silent. She's alone again. Alone in a city of 500,000 people, hunted by 300 soldiers, trying to stop a war by surviving. At 1600 hours, she makes a mistake. She's so tired that she doesn't check her 6 before relocating, doesn't scan behind her. A fundamental error, the kind that gets people killed. A Ukrainian soldier sees her. Young, 19, maybe 20. He's on patrol, sees a woman with a rifle pack, moving through shadows, not civilian behavior. He follows her, doesn't radio it in, wants to be sure, wants to be the one who captures the shooter. Young soldiers think about glory, about medals, about proving themselves. He follows her for 3 blocks, watches her enter a building, waits 5 minutes, then enters. She's in the stairwell, climbing to the 3rd floor, hears footsteps below, stops, listens. One person. Light footsteps, trying to be quiet but not trained, making mistakes, stepping on creaky stairs, breathing too loud. She can ambush him, disarm him, tie him up. He's not a threat if she acts first. But he's also not an enemy. He's a Ukrainian soldier defending his city, doing his job. She's the intruder here. She makes a choice, doesn't ambush him. Instead, she leaves obvious trail, boot prints in dust, equipment marks on the wall, leading to a dead-end hallway. She goes the opposite direction, quietly, while he follows the false trail. He finds the dead end, realizes she tricked him, but by then she's gone, 2 buildings away, watching from a window as he exits the building looking confused. He radios his command. Possible contact with shooter, lost visual, she's experienced, very experienced. Command responds. All units tighten perimeter, she's in Sector 7, lock it down. More soldiers flood the area. The net is tightening, 800 meters radius, then 600, then 400. Evelyn is inside the perimeter, trapped, no way out without being seen. She needs a distraction, something big, something that pulls soldiers away from her location. She has one option left, the thing she's been avoiding, the thing that breaks mission parameters. She has to shoot someone. Not to kill, but to wound. Create a casualty incident, force medical evacuation, pull resources away from the search. Her hands shake, not from fear, from the weight of the choice. Every casualty is a failure. Every wound is a mark against her record, against Hale's teaching. But staying invisible has failed. Now she has to become visible in a controlled way. She finds a target, Russian soldier standing guard, alone 50 meters away. She has a clear shot at his leg. Femoral artery is off limits, too dangerous, but the calf muscle, non-lethal, painful, requires medevac but survivable. She aims, breathes, calculates wind, distance, drop. Her finger is on the trigger, 2 pounds of pressure. The break point is right there. Hale's voice in her memory. The first casualty is the hardest. After that it gets easier, too easy. Never let it become easy. She doesn't fire, can't fire, removing her finger from the trigger, lowers the rifle. There has to be another way. She checks Hale's journal, flips through pages, looking for something, anything, a tactic she hasn't tried, a trick she missed. She finds it, Urban Rule 42. When trapped, change the battlefield, make them search somewhere else. She pulls out her radio, switches to Russian command frequency, doesn't speak, just keys the mic, creates an open transmission, background noise, wind, distant traffic. Russian signals intelligence triangulates the transmission. Sir, we have an open mic. Grid 29 Alpha, that's 3 kilometers north of current search area. Volkov checks the map. Is she moving? Possibly, or it's a diversion. Send a team to investigate. Keep the perimeter locked. 30 soldiers peel off. Head north to investigate. The perimeter is thinner now, easier to slip through. Evelyn waits 10 minutes, then moves, not north, south, opposite direction, through the thinned perimeter. She's out before they realize the transmission was bait. By 1800 hours, she's in a new sector, industrial zone, warehouses, fewer civilians, more hiding places. She sets up in a sheet metal factory, abandoned, cold, but concealment is excellent. She's bought another 4 hours, 68 hours into 72, 4 left to go. Her body is failing, muscle tremors, vision blurring at the edges. The caffeine is wearing off. She takes another tablet, knows she's pushing into dangerous territory. Too many stimulants and the heart arrhythmias start. Cardiac arrest is a real possibility. But stopping means getting caught. Getting caught means mission failure. Mission failure means war. War means thousands dead. She keeps moving. At 2,000 hours, her radio crackles. Different voice. Not Olympus, not Marx, someone else. Older, familiar. Evelyn, this is Sentinel. Do you copy? She freezes. Sentinel, that's not a JSOC call sign. That's a personal identifier. Someone who knows her real name, someone from before. She keys the radio. Sentinel, this is Architect. Identify yourself. You know who I am. We worked together, Syria, 2018, Operation Cold Front. Her blood goes cold. Syria, the mission she failed. The 3 Marines who died because she refused a kill order. Who is this? Major Ryan Cross. I was one of the team members on Cold Front. You refused to shoot the HVT. Said he was holding a child. You were right. The intel was wrong. If you'd taken that shot, 30 civilians would have died along with the target. She remembers Ryan, young lieutenant then, earnest, believed in the mission, nearly died in the firefight that followed her refusal. Ryan, how are you on this frequency? Because I'm in Odessa. I'm the diplomatic liaison, trying to negotiate ceasefire terms between Russia and Ukraine. And I need you to know something. China's mediation was accepted. Both sides are coming to the table. You did it. 72 hours isn't needed. You just need to survive the next 4. Relief floods through her, mixed with exhaustion. 4 hours. She can do 4 hours. Ryan, where are you? Hotel Ukraine, city center, under armed guard, both Russian and Ukrainian security, neutral ground. Negotiations start at midnight. If both sides are talking, they're not fighting. What do you need from me? Stay invisible. If they find you before midnight, they'll think it's American sabotage. Negotiations collapse. War starts. Just stay hidden 4 more hours. Copy, I'll hold. Ryan's voice softens. Evelyn, I read your file, every mission since Syria. You've been trying to prove you can win without killing, trying to make up for those 3 Marines, but you need to know, we don't blame you. You made the right call. The child lived. that matters. She doesn't respond, can't respond. Emotions are dangerous in the field. Emotions make you sloppy. 4 hours, she says, I'll be here. Good and Evelyn, Hale would be proud, sentinel out. The radio goes silent. 4 hours, 240 minutes, 14,400 seconds. The hourglass is almost empty. At 2100 hours, Russian and Ukrainian forces pull back from the search. Orders from above. Ceasefire negotiations are more important than finding one shooter. They'll resume searching after the talks, if talks fail. Evelyn watches from her warehouse position, sees soldiers withdrawing, sees the perimeter dissolving. The pressure is off. She can breathe. She allows herself to sit, first time in 20 hours. Her legs are shaking, muscle fatigue, dehydration, malnutrition. The human body has limits. She's found hers. She drinks water, eats an energy bar, tastes like chalk but provides calories. The body converts food to energy, energy to movement, movement to survival. At 2200 hours, she sees something on the drone feed. A vehicle moving through the city, civilian car, but driving with purpose, tactical spacing, scanning windows. Someone is still searching, not official, not military, someone else. The vehicle stops near her warehouse. 4 men exit, civilian clothes, but they move like soldiers. Training shows in posture, in how they clear corners, in how they communicate without speaking. She recognizes the pattern, Spetsnaz, Russian special forces, operating off book. Deniable, if they find her and kill her, Russia claims they were civilians, vigilantes, not official action. Volkov must have sent them, the colonel who doesn't trust ceasefires, who wants the shooter eliminated before talks begin, a man who thinks like she thinks, 3 moves ahead. They enter the warehouse. 4 operators, she's one person, exhausted, low on ammunition. If she engages, she probably dies. She doesn't engage, hides deeper in the warehouse, behind sheet metal stacks, in shadows, controlling her breathing, making herself small. The Spetsnaz team clears the warehouse, room by room, professional, thorough. They're close, 20 meters, then 10. She's out of options, out of tricks, out of time. Except one thing. She pulls a flash bang from her pack. Last resort. Non-lethal, just light and sound, creates disorientation. Buys seconds. She waits until they're 5 meters away. Then throws it, covers her eyes, covers her ears. The grenade detonates, 170 decibels, 7 million candela. The Spetsnaz team is blinded, deafened, stumbling. She runs out the back exit, into the night. They recover in 15 seconds, chase her, but 15 seconds is enough. She's into the maze of alleys, into darkness, into the city that swallows her. Behind her, the team radios their commander. Target escaped, lost visual. Forget it, comes the response. Ceasefire is active, return to base. They withdraw, frustrated, but following orders. Evelyn collapses in an alley 3 blocks away, breathing hard, heart pounding, vision swimming. She's at the edge of consciousness. The body wants to shut down, wants to sleep, wants to stop. She forces herself to stay awake, checks her watch, 22:45 hours, 15 minutes until negotiations start, 15 minutes until she's safe. She crawls into a dumpster, pulls cardboard over herself, hides among garbage. The smell is overwhelming, rot, decay, but smell means alive. Alive means mission continues. At 2300 hours, she hears vehicles, military, Russian, Ukrainian, both, moving through the city toward Hotel Ukraine. The negotiators are arriving, diplomats, generals, politicians, people who make decisions while soldiers die. But tonight no one dies. Tonight talking happens, and talking is better than shooting. At midnight her radio crackles, Ryan's voice. Architect Sentinel, negotiations are underway, both sides are committed, you did it, mission success, extract when ready. She doesn't respond, too tired, just lies in the dumpster, among trash, among the debris of a city that almost went to war. She closes her eyes, just for a moment, just to rest. She wakes 6 hours later. Dawn, 600 hours. She slept through extract window, slept through everything. The body took what it needed. She climbs out of the dumpster, stiff, sore, smelling of garbage, but alive. The city is different, quiet, peaceful. Russian forces are pulling back, redeploying. Ukrainian forces are standing down. The crisis is over. She walks through the streets. No one notices her. Just another woman in a city full of women, invisible. She finds a cafe, orders coffee. Black, hot, sits at a table outside, watches the sunrise. Her phone vibrates, secure message from Marks. Architect, well done. 72-hour objective achieved in 68. Russia and Ukraine signed preliminary ceasefire. Talks will continue. You stopped a war. Again, return when able. Your next assignment is waiting. She deletes the message, drinks her coffee, watches people walk past, normal people, living normal lives, not knowing how close they came to war, not knowing someone spent 3 days invisible to keep them safe. That's the invisible war, won in silence, remembered by no one. Except the people who didn't die. A man sits down at her table, Ryan Cross, older than she remembers, gray at the temples, lines around his eyes, but the same earnest expression. You look like hell, he says. I've been in a dumpster. I can tell. They sit in silence, drinking coffee, watching the city wake up. 3 days ago you could have killed me, Ryan says. When I was Lieutenant Cross in Syria, you had orders, you refused. 3 Marines died in the firefight. I was almost the 4th. I remember. I hated you for years, thought you were a coward, thought you cost us the mission. She doesn't respond, just drinks coffee. But then I read the full classified report. The HVT was wearing a suicide vest. If you'd shot him in the market, he would have detonated. 30 civilians dead, maybe more. You saw that through your scope. Intel didn't. You saved those 30 people. We just lost 3 trying to capture him after. 3 for 30, still a loss. No, it's a choice. The choice between acceptable losses and unacceptable ones. You chose to save civilians over mission success. That takes courage. She looks at him. The Marines still died. Yes, and we honor them by learning from it, by understanding that sometimes refusing to shoot is the right call. You taught me that, in Syria, and you just proved it again here. 72 hours, 0 deaths. You froze a war without firing lethal shots. I wounded a Russian in Afghanistan, violated 0 casualty parameters. To save 4 Americans, that's not violation, that's judgment. That's what makes you different from a machine. Machines follow orders, humans make choices. Evelyn finishes her coffee. Why are you telling me this? Because you're carrying guilt you don't deserve. And because I want you to know, when they write the history of what happened here, your name won't be in it. But you'll be the reason this city is still standing. The reason 15,000 soldiers didn't die. The reason 2 countries chose talk over war. He stands, puts money on the table for the coffee. Take care of yourself, Evelyn. The world needs more architects and fewer destroyers. He walks away, disappears into the crowd. She sits alone, watching the sunrise paint the buildings gold, thinking about choices, about the invisible war, about the weight of surviving when others don't. Her phone vibrates again. Another message. This one not from Marks, from an unknown number. Colonel Volkov here. I know who you are. I know what you did. You stopped my attack with smoke and mirrors. Impressive, but know this. Next time we meet, there will be no ceasefire, no negotiations, just you and me. And I will find you. Consider this professional respect and a promise. Until then, ghost. She deletes the message, stands, walks toward Extract Point, a safe house in the suburbs where a helicopter will take her out, back to base, back to debriefing, back to the next impossible mission. As she walks, she opens Hale's journal, flips to the last page, his final entry, written 3 days before he died. Eve, if you're reading this, I'm gone. Cancer doesn't care about tactics, but I need you to know something. Every lesson I taught you, every rule, every technique. They're not about killing. They're about choosing when not to kill. War is easy, peace is hard. You're strong enough for the hard thing. Don't let anyone tell you mercy is weakness. Mercy is the hardest strength. Stay invisible, stay true, make them think, make them choose peace. Win the war that never happens. That's the mission. That's always been the mission. Proud of you. Always, Hale. She closes the journal, wipes her eyes, keeps walking. Behind her, Odessa wakes up. Coffee shops open. Children go to school. People live their lives. Because one woman spent 72 hours making sure they could. The invisible war continues. Silent, unseen, unremembered. But one. Always one. 6 weeks after Odessa, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, the Special Operations Command briefing room is cold. Air conditioning set too high. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead. The room smells like coffee and old carpet. Military standard. Captain Evelyn Corwin sits alone at a long conference table. She's wearing her dress uniform. Class A's. Badges and ribbons she earned in wars most people will never know happened. Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Ukraine, countries where she prevented more deaths than she caused, where she won battles that were never officially fought. The door opens. General Marks enters. He looks older than 6 weeks ago. The job ages people fast. 4 stars on his shoulder carry the weight of every operation, every casualty, every impossible decision. He sits across from her, doesn't speak immediately, just studies her face, looking for cracks, for weakness, for the signs that someone has been pushed too far. "You look better than Odessa," he says finally. "I showered helps. Sleep. Some nightmares." She doesn't answer, doesn't need to. They both know the answer. Marks opens a folder, thick, classified stamps on every page. After action reports from your last 3 operations. Afghanistan, 0 friendly casualties, 0 enemy KIA, 1 enemy WIA, mission success. Odessa, 0 casualties both sides, ceasefire achieved, mission success. And before that, Syria 2018, you refused a direct order. 3 Marines KIA, mission failure, but 30 civilians saved from a suicide bombing. He closes the folder. "The math says you're the most effective operator we have. You win without killing. You stop wars before they start. You make the impossible look easy." It's not easy. I know, that's why I'm here. He slides a new folder across the table. Thinner, fewer pages, but the classification level is higher. TSSCI, top secret, sensitive, compartmented information. The kind of file that gets people killed just for knowing it exists. She opens it, reads the first page. Her face doesn't change, but her breathing slows, processing, calculating. "This is a kill order," she says quietly. "Yes. You want me to assassinate someone. I want you to stop a war. The person dies or 10,000 people die. Your choice which method you use." She reads further. The target is Colonel Volkov, the Russian commander from Odessa, 52 years old. Intelligence indicates he's planning a revenge operation. He's going rogue, taking a battalion across the Ukrainian border, not official Russian action. Deniable, but deadly. He wants to prove that the American ghost sniper isn't invincible. He wants to prove that force wins wars, not psychology. If he attacks, Ukraine responds. Russia escalates. NATO gets involved. 10,000 dead becomes 100,000, becomes 1,000,000, becomes the war everyone has been trying to avoid. Why not diplomatic channels? Evelyn asks. Why not tell Russia he's gone rogue? Because Russia knows. They're letting him go. Plausible deniability. If he succeeds, they claim victory. If he fails, he was a rogue element. We lose either way unless we stop him. And by stop, you mean kill. I mean remove him from the equation, however you see fit. But Evelyn, be clear on this. If you can't stop him without killing, then kill him. That's a direct order. No Syria repeat. No refusing because you see a better way. This time, mission success is mandatory. 10,000 lives depend on it. She looks at the file, at Volkov's photograph. 52 years old, decorated, experienced. A man who survived 2 wars and countless battles, a professional like her. When, she asks. 48 hours. He's moving his battalion into position. After that, the attack begins. You have 48 hours to stop him. Where? Ukrainian border, Sector Delta, remote, minimal civilian presence, good terrain for an ambush, bad terrain for escape. She closes the file, looks at marks. If I kill him, I become what he thinks I am, a weapon, not an architect, just another killer with a rifle. You've killed before. 17 times. I remember every face, every name. If I kill Volkov, that's 18. At what number do I stop being someone who uses violence as last resort and become someone who uses it as first option? Mark stands, walks to the window, looks out at the training grounds, soldiers running, exercising, preparing for wars they hope won't come. Evelyn, you're asking philosophical questions in a tactical situation. Philosophy is a luxury, time is not. You have 48 hours. Use them however you choose, but understand this. If Volkov isn't stopped, everything you've built, every war you've prevented, every life you've saved, it all becomes meaningless, because this war will dwarf all of them. He walks to the door, stops, doesn't turn around. Hale would understand. Sometimes the invisible war requires a visible shot. Sometimes the only way to save thousands is to sacrifice one. He leaves, the door closes, the lock clicks. Evelyn sits alone, holding the file, feeling the weight of it, not the physical weight of paper, the moral weight of choice. Kill one to save thousands, the oldest equation in warfare. The math always works, the ethics never do. She opens Hale's journal, flips to a random page, needs guidance, needs wisdom, needs her teacher's voice. She finds Urban Rule 57, the last rule he wrote before he died. The hardest shot is the one you have to take, not want to take, have to. When every other option fails, when the math says one death prevents 10,000, you take the shot, but you carry it forever. That's the cost. Pay it with full knowledge or don't pay it at all. She closes the journal, makes her decision. She'll find Volkov. She'll try every option, every tactic, every invisible war method. And if they all fail, she'll take the shot. 36 hours later, Ukrainian border, Sector Delta. The terrain is rolling hills covered in forest, birch trees, pine, good concealment, multiple sight lines, rivers cutting through valleys. This is tank country, wide fields for maneuver, high ground for observation. Evelyn is dug in on a ridge 2 kilometers from Volkov's staging area. She's been here for 6 hours, watching, calculating, looking for options. Through her scope, she can see Russian forces, 200 vehicles, 800 soldiers, artillery, air defense. This isn't a battalion anymore. Volkov has gathered allies, other officers who think like him, who believe force is the answer. If this force crosses the border, Ukraine can't stop it without massive casualties. They'll call for NATO help. NATO responds. Russia escalates. The spiral begins. Her radio crackles. Architect Olympus confirming you on station. Confirmed. Visual on target area. This is bigger than intelligence reported. Not a battalion. This is a brigade. Copy. Does that change your assessment? Yes, I can't freeze a brigade. Too many moving parts. Too many commanders. Volkov isn't the only decision maker anymore. Understood. What's your recommendation? She watches Volkov through the scope. He's standing near a command vehicle, studying maps, giving orders. Men around him are listening, following. He's the center, the keystone. Remove him and the structure might collapse, or it might make him a martyr and strengthen their resolve. I need to talk to him, she says. Negative, too dangerous, you're one person. He has 800 soldiers. If I kill him without talking, they'll attack anyway. For revenge, I need to make him choose to stand down. Evelyn, your orders are clear. Stop him. Method is your discretion, but stop him. I will my way, architect out. She turns off the radio. Can't have Olympus second-guessing every move. This operation requires autonomy, requires trust. She relocates, moves closer, within 400 meters of Russian position, close enough to be heard, close enough to die if this goes wrong. She finds a position, natural hide, fallen tree, good cover, clear field of fire. If talking fails, shooting is still an option. She keys a different radio, Russian military frequency, speaks in Russian, accent neutral. Colonel Volkov, this is the ghost from Odessa. I'm 400 meters northwest of your position. I'm armed, but I'm not here to kill you. I'm here to talk. Give me 5 minutes. After that, do what you want. Silence, long silence. Then Volkov's voice. Calm, unsurprised. The American sniper, I've been expecting you, not here, not this way, but eventually. Will you talk? Will you shoot if I refuse? Probably. Honest, I appreciate honesty. Pause. Very well, 5 minutes, but know this, I have snipers too. They're tracking your transmission. If you shoot me, you die 1 second later. Acceptable terms. Acceptable. Then talk. Evelyn doesn't stand, doesn't reveal herself, just speaks into the radio. Colonel, you're about to start a war, not because Russia ordered it, because you want to prove a point. You want to prove that force beats psychology, that the invisible war is weakness. Correct, you stopped my offensive in Odessa with tricks, with games, made me look foolish, made Russia look weak. I will not allow that to stand. If you attack, 10,000 people die. Soldiers, civilians, Ukrainians, Russians, NATO forces. The number grows every day the war continues. War is built on numbers, acceptable losses for strategic gains. You're a soldier, Colonel, not a murderer. Soldiers fight because they have to. Murderers fight because they want to. Which are you? Silence. She's challenged his identity, his self-image. This is psychological warfare, the invisible war taken to individual level. Volkov's voice is harder now. I fight because my country needs me to fight, because showing weakness invites attack, because if I don't cross that border, NATO thinks Russia is finished. They expand. They threaten. Eventually they attack us, so I attack first. Preemptive defense. That's fear talking, not strategy. Fear keeps nations alive. Fear starts wars. Calculation prevents them. Another pause, longer. She can imagine him thinking, weighing. calculating his own equations. "You have 3 minutes left," he says. "Make your point." "My point is this: you attack, I stop you. Not with tricks this time, with bullets. I kill you first. Then your officers. Then your communication network. Your brigade loses command and control. They scatter. Ukraine counterattacks. You die having accomplished nothing except proving that force creates force. You're one person. I have 800 soldiers. I'm one person who froze your offensive in Odessa. One person who stopped a war in Afghanistan. One person who has never missed a shot that mattered. You want to bet 800 lives on the chance that today is the day I miss. You're bluffing. Test me." The silence is different now. Tension, calculation. Volkov is weighing odds, assessing risk. He's a professional. Professionals don't gamble when the stakes are this high. "What do you propose?" he asks. "Stand down, return to Russia. Tell your government the border is too heavily defended. Not worth the casualties. You tried, but the math didn't work. No shame in that. No dishonor, just tactical assessment. They'll think I'm a coward. They'll think you're smart. There's a difference. And if I refuse, if I order attack anyway, then I kill you, and your officers, and enough of your command structure that the attack fails, and you die knowing you started a war you couldn't finish." Volkov's voice is quiet now, almost gentle. "You would do that, kill me in cold blood." Evelyn's finger is on the trigger, scope on his chest. Center mass, 400-meter shot, wind 3 miles per hour, temperature 52 degrees. She's made this shot 1,000 times. "In a heartbeat," she says, "because one of you is better than 10,000 of them." Them. The people who didn't ask for this war, who won't benefit from it, who just die because men like us make choices. Another long pause. The sun is setting. Golden light across the valley. Beautiful, peaceful, the kind of evening where war seems impossible. "You know what I think," Volkov says finally. "I think you're not bluffing. I think you would kill me. And I think you would carry that weight for the rest of your life. Because you're not like me. You don't see people as numbers. You see them as people. That's your weakness. Also my strength. Perhaps, or perhaps it's why you'll eventually lose, because I can make the hard choices without guilt. Can you?" Her finger tightens on the trigger, 2 pounds of pressure. The brake is right there. Hale's voice in her memory. "The hardest shot is the one you have to take." She breathes, 4 count in, 4 count hold, 4 count out, 4 count hold. The body is stable, the crosshair is steady, the wind is calm. She speaks into the radio one last time. "Colonel, I'm going to count to 10. If you're still here at 10, I shoot. If you're not, you live, your choice. You give me 10 seconds to abandon my command, my mission. I give you 10 seconds to choose between ego and survival. Choose fast. And if I choose ego, then you die with it." She starts counting. 1. Through the scope she sees Volkov standing still, looking northwest, toward where her voice is coming from. He can't see her, but he knows she's there. 2. Volkov turns, says something to an officer. The officer looks confused. 3. More discussion. Volkov pointing at the map, the officer shaking his head. 4. Volkov grabs the officer's radio, barks orders. Soldiers start moving. 5. Vehicles firing up, engines starting, the sound of a military force preparing to move. 6. Volkov is walking toward his command vehicle, not running, walking, dignity intact. 7. He stops, turns, looks northwest one more time, raises his hand, not a wave, a salute, soldier to soldier. 8. He climbs into his vehicle. Door closes. 9. The vehicle starts moving, away from the border, back toward Russia, other vehicles following. 10. The entire brigade is moving, withdrawing, standing down. 800 soldiers turning around because one woman counted to 10 and meant it. Evelyn lowers her rifle. Didn't fire, didn't have to. The invisible war wins again. She keys the radio. Colonel Volkov, you made the right choice. His voice comes back, quiet, reflective. Did I, or did I just prove your point that psychology beats force? You proved that smart beats stupid. That's enough. We will meet again, American. Next time I won't hesitate. Next time, neither will I. The radio goes silent. The convoy disappears over the horizon. The sun sets completely. Darkness falls. Evelyn sits in the hide, alone, feeling the weight of what almost happened. Her finger was on the trigger. She was 1 second from killing a man, 1 second from becoming what she's been trying not to become. But she didn't, because he chose, because the invisible war gave him the option to choose. She radios Olympus. Mission complete. Volkov is withdrawing. No shots fired. Copy architect. Hell of a gamble. Calculated risk, not a gamble. If he'd called your bluff. Wasn't a bluff, I would have shot him. We know that's why he believed you. Olympus out. She packs her gear, prepares to extract, but before she moves, her radio crackles again. Different frequency. Volkov's voice. American, one more thing. In Odessa, you stopped my attack with invisible methods. Here, you stopped it with a threat. Next time, what will you use? She thinks about the question, about the evolution of her tactics, about how each operation pushes her closer to the line she doesn't want to cross. I don't know, Colonel. I hope there isn't a next time. There's always a next time, until one of us stops the other permanently. Then let's hope we're both smart enough to avoid that. Hope is not a strategy, American. Neither is aggression, Colonel. Pause, then something unexpected. Volkov laughs, short, sharp, genuine. You would have made a good Russian. We appreciate directness. You would have made a good American. We appreciate swagger. Another pause. Until we meet again, Ghost. Until then, Colonel. The radio goes silent. The conversation is over. The operation is complete. But Evelyn knows Volkov is right. There will be a next time because men like him exist, because wars keep happening, because the invisible war is never truly won, only delayed, only postponed until the next crisis, the next conflict, the next impossible choice. 3 days later, Arlington National Cemetery. The graves stretch in perfect rows, white headstones, identical, democratic. In death, everyone is equal, general, private, all the same. Evelyn stands at Hale's grave. She's in civilian clothes, jeans, jacket, no uniform, no rank, just a woman visiting her teacher. She places a rifle against the headstone. Not Hale's rifle this time, her rifle. The M2010 she carried in Afghanistan, in Odessa, in Ukraine. The weapon that has fired hundreds of shots and killed no one in the last 3 operations. I almost killed him, she says to the grave. Volkov had the shot, had the justification, had the order, didn't take it. He withdrew instead, chose to stand down, but I was 1 second from pulling that trigger. The wind moves through the trees, autumn leaves falling, red, gold, brown, the cycle of seasons, life, death, renewal. I don't know if you'd be proud or disappointed, she continues. You taught me to win without killing, but you also taught me when to break that rule. I think this was breaking it. I think if he hadn't moved, I would have shot, and I think I could have lived with it. She sits on the grass, leans against the headstone. That's what scares me, not that I almost killed him, that I was okay with it, that the math made sense. One death to prevent 10,000, the equation balanced. The ethics didn't matter anymore, just the numbers. A voice behind her. The ethics always matter. She turns. Ryan Cross is standing there, still in his suit from diplomatic work, still looking tired, still carrying the weight of Syria with him. "How did you know I'd be here?" she asks. "Because this is where you always go. After operations, after hard choices, you come here to talk to him." Ryan sits next to her, looks at the headstone. "I never met Hale, but I've read his file, 32 years of service. 417 confirmed kills, but in his last 10 years only 17. He learned the same lesson you're learning. That killing gets easier. Too easy. So he found another way." What if there isn't another way? What if Volkov comes back? What if next time he doesn't blink? Then you do what you have to do. But doing what you have to do is different from doing what's easy. You'll know the difference, because it'll hurt. Evelyn pulls out Hale's journal, opens to the last page, reads the final entry again. He says mercy is the hardest strength, but mercy only works when the other person accepts it. Volkov could have refused, could have attacked anyway. Then mercy becomes suicide. But he didn't refuse, because you gave him a choice. That's what makes you different. You don't just kill or not kill. You architect the situation so the other person chooses. Volkov chose to stand down because standing down became the smart tactical option. You made peace the winning move. Ryan stands, offers his hand, helps her up. "I have something for you from JSOC, official commendation. Can't tell you what it's for, can't publish it, can't announce it, but it goes in your file. So when you're old and gray and wondering if any of this mattered, you can read it and know." He hands her an envelope, sealed, official stamps. She opens it, reads. "Captain Evelyn Corwin is hereby commended for extraordinary service in prevention of large-scale armed conflict through innovative application of psychological operations and precision engagement. Her actions in multiple theaters have directly prevented an estimated 14,000 casualties and preserved strategic stability in volatile regions. This commendation is classified and may not be publicly acknowledged, but the gratitude is real. The lives saved are real. The difference made is real. Well done, soldier. James Marks, General Commander JSOC." She folds the letter, puts it in her pocket. 14,000, that's the number I saved. Estimated, probably more. Hard to count the people who didn't die because a war didn't happen. 17 killed, 14,000 saved. The math works. The math always works, Evelyn. It's living with the math that's hard. They stand in silence. Two soldiers who understand the cost, who carry the weight, who know that some victories are invisible and some scars never heal. "What's next for you?" Ryan asks. "I don't know. Marks has another assignment, always another assignment." "Will you take it?" "Do I have a choice?" "Everyone has a choice. You taught me that." Evelyn looks at the graves, thousands of them, soldiers who made choices, who followed orders, who died in wars that happened because prevention failed. "I'll take it," she says, "because if I don't, someone else will, someone who might not count to 10, someone who might pull the trigger at 8. I'd rather it be me. I'd rather carry the weight than pass it to someone who can't." Ryan nods. Hale would be proud. "You didn't know him. How can you know what he'd think?" "Because I know you, and you're what he built, the invisible warrior, the architect of peace, the person who wins wars by preventing them. If he built that, he'd be proud of it." Ryan walks away, leaves her alone with the graves. Evelyn picks up her rifle, checks it. Function check. Bolt smooth, trigger crisp, scope clear. The weapon is ready, always ready, waiting for the next impossible shot. She walks through the cemetery, past rows of headstones, past names she doesn't know, past wars she wasn't part of, Vietnam, Korea, World War II, World War I, the cycle of conflict going back generations. But between the wars' spaces, years of peace, decades where soldiers didn't die, where diplomacy worked, where prevention succeeded. Those spaces are invisible. No monuments, no headstones, no recognition. But they're real, and someone made them happen. Someone counted to 10 instead of firing at 1. Someone chose mercy when force was easier. She reaches the cemetery gate, stops, looks back at Hale's grave, small in the distance, one headstone among thousands. She whispers, "I'll keep counting, Gunny. I'll keep giving them choices. I'll keep building the invisible war until I can't anymore. Until the day comes when counting doesn't work and mercy becomes suicide. And on that day I'll take the shot, but not before, never before." The wind carries her words away, into the trees, into the air, into the invisible space between peace and war where she operates. She walks through the gate, into the parking lot, into the world. Her phone vibrates, message from Marks. New assignment, Taiwan Strait, Chinese naval exercises, tensions high, need you to freeze the situation, 48 hours, wheels up in 6, you in. She looks at the message, at the impossible task, at the next war she has to prevent. She types one word, in. Sends it, puts the phone away, gets in her car, drives toward the base, toward the next mission, toward the next count to 10. Because that's who she is, the architect, the invisible warrior, the person who stops wars that never happen, the soldier who fights battles no one knows about, who wins victories that can't be celebrated, who saves lives that will never know they were saved. 14,000 so far. The number will grow, has to grow, because the alternative is those people dying, and she can't accept that, won't accept that. She'll keep counting, keep choosing, keep building the spaces between wars where peace lives. Until the day she can't. Until the day the math stops working and the ethics collapse, and the only option is the shot she doesn't want to take. But not today. Today she prevented another war. Today 14,000 became 14,800. Today the invisible war won. And tomorrow she'll do it again. And the day after. And every day until the counting stops or she does. 6 hours later, military transport plane, engines roaring, flying toward Taiwan, toward the next crisis, toward the next impossible choice. Evelyn sits alone in the cargo bay, checking her equipment, rifle, ammunition, optics, everything she needs to stop a war without starting one. Her tablet shows intelligence briefings, Chinese naval forces conducting exercises near Taiwan, provocative, dangerous. One mistake and it becomes shooting, shooting becomes war, war becomes the nightmare everyone fears. Her job is make sure the mistake doesn't happen, make sure both sides blink, make sure peace is the smart choice and war is the stupid one. She opens Hale's journal one more time, reads random passages, looking for wisdom, looking for guidance, looking for the voice of the teacher who made her who she is. She finds a passage she hasn't read before, written in different ink, added later, maybe his last edition before he died. Eve, if you're reading this on a plane heading toward another impossible mission, know this. You're enough. You're always enough. Not because you're perfect, not because you never fail, but because you try, because you count to 10 when everyone else fires at 1, because you give mercy when force is easier, because you carry the weight that would crush other people and you keep walking. That's enough. That will always be enough. Don't doubt yourself. Don't second guess. Trust your training. Trust your instinct. Trust that the invisible war is real and it matters and you're the one who can fight it. Proud of you, always. Now go save some more people who will never know your name. Hail. She closes the journal, wipes her eyes, breathes. The plane flies on, toward Taiwan, toward crisis, toward the next war that hopefully won't happen. Because Evelyn Corwin is there, the architect, the ghost, the invisible warrior. The person who counts to 10. And means it. Every single time. The end. But the invisible war continues, silent, unseen, unremembered. Fought by people whose names appear on no monuments, whose victories merit no parades, whose sacrifices earn no medals that can be worn in public. They operate in the spaces between headlines, in the gaps between history, in the invisible places where prevention happens. And they count to 10, over and over, in 100 different languages, in 1,000 different situations, giving humanity one more chance, one more choice, one more opportunity to step back from the edge. Sometimes it works. Sometimes the other person chooses peace, chooses smart over stupid, chooses survival over ego. And when it works, the world keeps turning. People wake up, go to work, love their families, live their lives. Never knowing how close they came. Never knowing someone counted to 10 while their finger was on the trigger. That's the invisible war, won in silence, remembered by no one. Except the people who didn't die. And that's enough. That has to be enough. Because if it's not, the alternative is unthinkable. So they keep counting, keep choosing, keep fighting the war that never happens. Until the day it does. Until the day counting stops working and the only option left is the shot. But not today, not this day. Today peace won. Today mercy was strong enough. Today 14,000 became 14,800. Today was a good day. Tomorrow might be harder, the day after harder still. But today was good, and good is enough. Good has to be enough. Because good is all we have. Good is all we can be. Good is all that stands between civilization and chaos. So we choose good. We count to 10, we give mercy, we build peace. One invisible war at a time. One prevented conflict at a time. One saved life at a time. That's the mission. That's always been the mission. And the mission continues, forever, because peace is not a destination. Peace is a choice made every day, every hour, every second. By people like Evelyn, like Hale, like every invisible warrior who ever chose to count instead of shoot, to talk instead of kill, to build instead of destroy. Their names are unknown, their battles unrecorded, their victories uncelebrated. But they're real, and they matter, and they're why the world still stands. So here's to them, the invisible warriors, the architects of peace, the people who count to 10. May their numbers grow, may their wisdom spread, may their example inspire. And may we all learn to count, to pause, to choose. Before we pull the trigger, before we start the war, before we cross the line that can't be uncrossed. Count to 10, give mercy a chance, choose the invisible war. It's harder, but it's worth it. It's always worth it. Because on the other side of 10 is tomorrow, and tomorrow deserves a chance. Every time, without exception, forever. Count to 10, the world depends on it. I spent 3 weeks researching psychological warfare tactics to write this story. The count to 10 moment. Inspired by real hostage negotiation protocols where giving someone a choice and meaning it can change everything. What struck me most? In declassified after-action reports, the operators who prevented the most casualties are the ones history never remembers. They win wars that never happen. Question for you veterans and military families out there. Have you ever had to make a call where not taking action was harder than pulling the trigger? The discipline that takes, that's what I wanted to capture here. Drop a comment if this resonated. And if you want more stories about the invisible battles, the ones that save lives in silence, hit that subscribe button. Next story drops Friday. What should I cover next? Modern tactical medicine, EOD operators. Let me know.